sorry. Oh, man. I'm also noticing other stuff is messed up on here, too. Like, what is this? Why is that missing all of a sudden? I can't make sense. I can't make heads or tails out of what's going on. Oh, boy. But hey, I got my camera back. That's good. Tell you what, this confirms that as soon as I have time, as soon as I get like 5 minutes to myself, we are switching off of Streamlabs. I'm going to move all of my stuff away from them. Hey, Mari, I'm going to be done with Streamlabs because I have been screwed over left and right every freaking time I've tried to use Streamlabs in like the last month and a half. And I can't keep doing it. I'm so pissed off right now, it's not even funny. I figure out one thing and everything else just goes all to hell. All right, so I'm just going to give people a second to filter back in here. It so pisses me off. It's not even funny. Let me see if I even have like, hang on, let me see if I actually have these other video things back working. Well, you know, Zav, I didn't used to hate it. I did not used to hate Streamlabs, and honestly, at this point now, I'm like, what is Springfield? Okay, so that's working. All right, so the audio stuff is back to normal. You assemble every equipment every time you go live. Well, mine's not so bad. I don't leave any, like, I don't have to pack anything up. That's pretty dedicated, though, I gotta say. For me personally, it's the fact that one Windows update or one thing goes wrong on the back end of Streamlabs and it makes everything else go wrong. So for like 2 weeks, I didn't have any media audio. So you could hear, like if I'm watching a YouTube video, if we're listening to sound, we can all hear it on the stream. But if I'm playing a video from within Streamlabs, there's no audio at all. Then we get the other issue where the stinger transitions aren't working. It's just like there's all this crap. And I pay to be able to multi-stream from Streamlabs. Like the whole point is to be able to stream to, if I'm doing a video game stream, I stream to 5 different places at once. If we're doing stuff like tonight, I'm on Twitter, Rumble, and YouTube. And why would I keep paying for that crap, you know? Oh yeah, he'll be happy. He'll be happy that the beard is still here. Unlimited meatloaf or unlimited spaghetti? It depends on how good the meatloaf is that we're talking about. I'm Italian, so for me the spaghetti is kind of like, that's like, you know, soul food right there. But at the same time, I really like meatloaf. I like all the the pub food also, like bangers and mash, shepherd's pie. Oh, so Oblivion, we were talking about it. So yeah, okay. On top of everything else, my kid's computer, his Lenovo pre-built desktop that they've had, you have to pay to multi-stream? Yeah, from Streamlabs in order to stream, because I can stream to like 7 different places at once. If I wanted to, I could be streaming to Instagram as well right now. I could be streaming to TikTok. I could have like 7 or 8 streams going all at once. That's one of the perks of paying for Streamlabs. Plus, they used to give you other stuff on the back end. The ability to make thumbnails and panels and all sorts of stuff through Streamlabs, but you have to pay for it. And so, of course, for a long time I was paying for it, and I was like, I'm literally losing money paying for it. Now it's like, well, it pays for itself, but I don't really make anything by multi-streaming. So I'm probably going to just kill that off entirely. And like I said, move to Streamlabs or StreamYard or Rumble Studio or something, just because of the fact that it's like, there's no benefit. There's no benefit to it at all. That being said, my kid's computer, we had just gotten done building him, or we went and bought him a new desk for his room. You want to do Twitch and YouTube, you don't have to pay just to stream to one. But if you're gonna use, it depends on who you're using. It depends on where you stream from, like what software you use. I'm sure that there are some that you don't have to pay for, but in general, there are to get like all the features to multi-stream to the most like platforms at once. And to not have to deal with like watermarks and other limitations, you do have to pay for it, unfortunately. Now, that doesn't mean you have to use Streamlabs specifically. It doesn't mean you have to pay for that one or, you know, the software that I'm using, which I hate. It's complete garbage now. I'm so sick and tired of it, it's not even funny. Hang on, just give me 1 sec, guys. We're just going to have to speed through some of these topics now tonight. Not to mention, it just makes it even better because I got no sleep last night. The dog has had fleas. He's been itching. We've been trying to medicate him and get rid of him. Hey, Desert, how's it going? Hey, Austin, good to see you as well. Nightcore, again, thanks for coming back, Mari. I think Zav is back in here. He is. That's right. It says all his homies hate Streamlabs. Yeah, guys, it has just been a hell of a month with Streamlabs. I don't know what to do about it in the meantime because I don't have time right now to sit down and actually work my way through, changing out software and everything else. So basically, it's going to require me to have a weekend where I don't have to do anything else, where I can sit down, convert all my stuff, move it all over to a different streaming platform entirely, and say goodbye to Streamlabs. So, okay. Now, of course, I completely got rid of my Stinger transition, but everything else is working, it looks like. All right, good. We're good there. Hi, guys. It's Monday. Are y'all feeling it? Are y'all feeling the case of the Mondays I'm having right now? Because I am. I mean, like, hardcore. This is just insane. One sec. Ooh. This is so annoying. I even had all my topics lined up. I was ready to go. Had everything good to go, and here we are dealing with this bullshit once again. That's life. You're here to yap about Rivals. Oh, dude, honestly, look, okay. I know that you are a big fan of like that Deadlock game on Valve, right? And it seems like Rivals is a good replacement for it, or a good like competitor for it. I still haven't bothered playing either one. For me personally, neither one of them is like really grabbing my attention. 879 hours, dude. You're using my daughter's math. So if I have to run into the post office or do like a quick errand and I've got the kids in the car, so I'll be like, okay, it's gonna take me 30 seconds. I'm just gonna run this in, drop it off, and come back, right? And my daughter, I'll be gone for like maybe 45 seconds. I'll get back in the car and she's like, you were gone for 1,400,000 seconds. I'm like, it's a little off. You're using my daughter's math right now, but I appreciate you for coming back, dude. Join the sunrise and selfies for thumbnails. Yeah, I don't take selfies for thumbnails. You can ask NS. Nobody wants to see this ugly mug for thumbnails. Not to mention, there are people who legitimately make their thumbnails look better by being in them. So, for example, we're going to briefly talk about Asmongold at some point tonight. Asmongold is one of those guys. I think Nightcore brought him up talking about the teeth situation. Asmongold looks fine in his thumbnails. Like, he doesn't look like super cringy. He's not making stupid like Mr. Beast faces. But there are some people who try too hard with their thumbnails, and that's where it's like, I don't ever want to see my face in a thumbnail. The day that my face ends up in a thumbnail, I'm out. I'm gone. Like, I'm quitting YouTube. I'm leaving everything behind. Oh, the Karate Kid. Dude, my nickname growing up was Daniel-san. Okay? That was me. I was Daniel-san. Mobile with hero shooter stuff in it. Still is closed alpha, changes weekly. Basically Overwatch, but better in every way. Interesting. YouTube will start censoring your vids further on. Dude, honestly, I do the same thing. I can agree with YouTube on that one. All right, so let's go ahead. Oh man, I gotta find this now. Damn Streamlabs. Damn Streamlabs to hell. Okay. Let me find her YouTube channel. Hang on. Hang on. Here we go. Dude, she's up to 100 subscribers. Okay, I gotta wait. We're gonna talk about her in a minute. All right, so, yeah, you mentioned Rivals. So, yeah, apparently we have this Captain America Donald Trump mod that's been banned on Marvel Rivals. Again, I didn't understand how this worked anyways, right? Tends to look at whatever nose, eyes, mouths are within 2 seconds. Thumbnail must catch attention. No, but it does matter if they're pretty. I'm sorry. A pretty girl or a good-looking guy in a thumbnail is going to be much more likely to capture an audience, even if they don't have anything intelligent to say. It's just going to be visually more stimulating than having an ugly soy face, you know, like the the soy jack, Wojak kind of thing. I'm sorry. There is something psychologically about humans that you're more likely to watch something if the person is good looking. Okay, that's why for me, I think I'd do better if the webcam was off. I mean, honestly, without seeing my ugly mug, we'd all be better off. Okay. So yeah, Marvel Rivals, it's been a big topic for a lot of people, especially games media, because they can't figure out why people actually like the game, can't figure out like what's appealing to players. And again, it's because it's just a good game with good looking characters. So then we had this mod come out, they banned the mod, it came back, they banned it again. But yeah, Marvel Rivals, as far as a game goes, it looks fine to me personally. I just don't know that I'm going to have any time to get into it. Like I said before, and Zav, you can attest to this, I haven't even touched Spider-Man yet, right? And it's been 2 years. So put 2B cleavage. That's what I did. That's why I got the cleavage in the thumbnail. It's barely poking out behind Alyssa's, frightening head, but it's there. We had to get that in there. So speaking of, again, Donald Trump, we're briefly going to touch on this because today is the worstest day in American history of all time. Worse than 9/11, worse than Pearl Harbor, worse than basically every evil, horrible catastrophe combined. Because again, January 6th, was that 2021 or 2020? That was 2020. That's right. Don't touch Spider-Man, 2021. So yeah, of course, it very strangely on the anniversary of January 6th, the insurrection, as they like to call it, we have, of course, Kamala Harris, who has to
states are as
certify
follows.
the election.
Donald
Beautiful.
J. Trump of the state of Florida
Absolutely
has
beautiful.
received 312 votes. Kamala D. Harris
Now, I'm not going to lie, I haven't even watched this yet. This is beautiful to watch in real time, like, not in real time, I mean, for the first time. I didn't realize that she had to actually speak in the third person for this. This is like awesome. Avoid my face and thumbnails because even if people say I'm not ugly because of my angular face shape, if the lighting is weird. Oh, dude, I get that. I've got a really big ass head and a very large nose. And so the shape of my head, if you catch me from the side, I hate the side profile of my face. It's terrible. No, I get you 100%. You're hot for thumbnails. That is true. That is true. Yeah, the face is pretty awesome, I gotta say.
Kamala D. Harris of the state of California has received 226 votes.
And there's your participation trophy right there.
The whole number of electors appointed to vote for Vice President of the United States is 538. Within that whole number, a majority is 270. The votes.
Oh, see, you get it then. Yeah, I hate the side profile of my head. Of course, most people, unless you're like Henry Cavill, are probably the same way. Yeah, we have a couple of mods. I think the only people on my channel who are modded are Jess and Hunter and Richie. But I know Hunter's got a crazy work schedule. Zav. And Richie hasn't been around. He streams a lot on Twitch, so I don't know if he's actually streaming the same time as I am or not.
For Vice President of the United States are as follows. J.D. Vance of the state of Ohio has received 312 votes.
They have to go through the vice presidential word? That's weird. Okay, so the funniest part is that she managed to be sober for this. Like, honest to God, if she had come out here hammered, it wouldn't shock me one bit, right? But she managed to be sober, so I got to give it to Kamala. She actually stood there and had to go through that, which had to be pretty embarrassing. But it cannot be a coincidence, guys. I don't understand. Like, last night, I'm laying in bed, looking at my phone, and it says, oh, breaking, Justin Trudeau's going to step down. I'm like, that's BS. There's no way, right? It didn't even occur to me that the next day was January 6th. And a lot of people are joking about how we're going to have to make Canada the 51st state, which I want nothing to do with. Wait, you normally been working during my streams, but you're actually unemployed? No! No! Is this a good unemployed? Yeah, tell me later. Dude, message me on Discord. I need to find out about this. Like, what the hell, dude? Hopefully that was of your own free will. But yeah, there's absolutely no way that this is not to do with the timing of everything else, though. She sounds so different when she's sober. She can actually like read off a cue card when she's sober. You know, that's the funny thing. She can actually form a coherent thought. Even if she's talking in circles, it still sounds better than her slurring her words. Is there actual audio to this? Let me see here.
We need a new session of Parliament.
We do have audio. Cool.
She has granted this request, and the House will now be prorogued until March 24th. Over the holidays, I've also had a chance to reflect and have had long talks with my
I've had chances to reflect in the mirror, and I can confirm that, yes, my dad is Fidel Castro.
family about our future. Throughout the course of my career, any success I have personally achieved has been because of their support and with their encouragement. So last night over dinner, I told my kids about the decision that I'm sharing with you today. I intend to resign.
Can you imagine how great this would have been? Can you imagine if he had just come out and said, I'm gay or I'm transitioning or something? Like, everyone's like, oh my God, he's going to resign. And then he's like, I have actually been living a lie. I'm a woman trapped in a man's body. And then it wouldn't, after a second, it wouldn't have even shocked anybody. Like, we would all been like, yeah, I can see it. I get it.
As party leader, as prime minister, after the party selects its next leader through a robust, nationwide, competitive process. Last night, I asked the president of the Liberal Party to begin that process. This country deserves a real choice in the next election. And
he has kids, Sally, and it's the strangest thing because I don't know if he married an older woman like Macron did over in France. That's a really strange situation. Macron's married to a woman who's like twice his age and might be a man. But yeah, Trudeau's got kids somehow. I mean, maybe they did like in vitro or something. But yeah, I don't know. He's got kids.
It's become clear to me that if I'm having to fight internal battles, I cannot be the best option in that election.
Yeah, NS, I remember hearing something about that. There was some strange stuff about that. The thing I find funnier, though, is the fact that he's actually like possibly, Fidel Castro's biological son. That would be hilarious to find out for sure. So yeah, he's out. Trump is sworn in. What is this tab here? Oh yeah, so you got Canadians celebrating with like the F Trudeau flags flying in Canada. I'm honestly surprised they can do that. I'm actually kind of surprised, given the fact like how freaking authoritarian Canada really can be. Although they're not as bad as England. England will put you in jail for having a wrong thought. You just wish he had last election because he didn't get any better? Well, the thing is, didn't he hold a special election a couple years ago when he had control of the parliament to try to basically shore up his position for a few more years? I thought the whole point of that special election Canada had a couple years ago was so he wouldn't have to go through this now if Trump won, so that he could possibly go into a Trump presidency with a majority cabinet. So, I don't know. What, he is the son of Castro Orion? Yeah, I feel like he is. I feel like there's no way he's not. Ever since Trump bowed down to Elon, you've lost all faith. Yeah, I'm kind of over Elon Musk. That was something, dude, I was going to try to get some videos recorded over the last couple days. But basically, when my kid's computer crapped out, I thought it was the power supply, right? So we get home with the new desk. We're in the process of purging a whole bunch of stuff around here. We're on a 6-month lease. We're planning on moving at the end of 6 months. And I'm like, okay, in the meantime, let's kind of make things better here. So we got a new desk put together. His computer died as I'm, before I put the desk together. I'm like, okay, get this desk built. Then I'll troubleshoot, try to figure out the computer. I get the computer unplugged. I look inside of it. I'm like, the best thing to do if it's the power supply is to pull all these parts out, put them in a new case, new motherboard, plug it all in, see what happens. I was pretty sure that everything would work. Turns out, by swapping pieces out of both computers, it is the graphics card that crapped out on my kid's computer. I don't know how. It was working just fine, and then all of a sudden, the computer won't power on anymore. But I now have a new graphics card ordered, but I've been spending the last day and a half between other errands around the house and everything else trying to figure all this shit out. So on top of that, with Streamlabs giving me all this crap, you know, I've had stuff that I wanted to talk about, but I just haven't had time. So that kind of catches you guys up on where I've been mentally. Very stressed out, exhausted, all this other stuff going on. But yes, I wanted to cover Elon Musk because I am not thrilled with the situation going on with Twitter right now. I'm really not. Basically, the way I view this whole Elon Musk thing is he got his ass over his shoulder because he lost on the H-1B visa thing. Yeah, okay, sure. Trump has said before that he wants to have the H-1B visas because he wants to bring in smart people. Fine. That's only going to go so far because people are going to push back and say, we don't need janitors coming on H-1B visas. We don't need people that are going to work at McDonald's or strippers or, you know, all these visas that you're seeing for menial jobs where they're giving them half or 60% of what an American would make at that same position. Those are the people that people have a problem with coming here on HB1 visas, right? So again, Trump is going to have to listen to his base rather than Elon, whereas Elon just wants to import a bunch of cheap labor because Elon himself is an immigrant. He does not truly have the heart of the American people at mind. He just doesn't. I'm sorry. He might think he does, and I don't think Elon necessarily means to do poorly by the Americans. I just don't think he understands what it truly means in this situation to some of these Americans to hear somebody in his position say, we need more smart people from other countries here because Americans can't do the job, you know? Oh, dude. Yeah, that if we had the time, I would play the entire Sam Hyde video and we would watch it together because that video was an absolute takedown of everything wrong with the way Elon Musk has approached this entire situation on Twitter. And that has devolved into him basically rallying his circle jerk guys, his group of yes men around him, Ian Miles Chong, Mario Nafal, who's had me blocked on Twitter for like 2 years because I called him out on his BS because the dude's a freaking scammer and a botter and a crypto, bro. So again, there's a group of guys that are around Elon that are simply parroting how great this all is. And meanwhile, everyone else is like, Elon, take the L, learn to understand what concerns people have, and then we can all move forward. But the problem is instead of doing that, he's moved towards taking away people's verified badges, taking away people's monetization, taking people's subscribers away, using all these nefarious tools at his disposal to basically shut down any criticism that that people have. Patrick Bet David, again, a scammer, an actual multi-level marketing scammer, you know? You loved how the Asmongold bait worked. You watched his whole reaction to it as well. Oh, Asmon did react to it? I didn't see that. Companies just don't want to pay minimum wage to... Yeah, Ryan, 100%. And yes, there are, unfortunately, positions in America that are not being filled, that are not being trained. But you don't just give up on American people and say, bring in everyone else who can do the job. You start training people at a younger age to say, maybe instead of going to... And this is, again, people are like, well, you can't say don't go to university and then expect, nobody to fill those jobs that require an 8-year, 12-year degree like medical, institutions and shit. No, you get those people who would go and get a arts degree or a music degree, get those people into the actual trade professions like plumbing, electrical, things that they can do with a couple of years of tech education. And then you get them connected to better jobs and you don't have to bring in other people. Sure, you're always going to have demand for high skill jobs that only 0.001% of the population can do. But that's not what the H-1B visas are enabling. And that's the problem. He had a 2-hour reaction video. Well, it was a 45-minute video. That doesn't surprise me. You got a 12-hour suspension for calling Trudeau a traitor? Can I see the comment about the right wing in UK being censored too? I don't see it in YouTube chat. Let me scroll over here on Streamlabs. Let me scroll up. No, I didn't see it, so it got censored on YouTube. Dumbass is now causing splits in the right wing here in the UK, antagonizing the Reform Party with this. Oh, dude, I saw that. He was going after Nigel Farage, dude. Oh, you see it in all chat. Okay. Hey, Mahendra, America needs more engineers and scientists. Well, they're taking engineers, but Mahendra, it's not just engineers. If you go look at the actual listings with the H-1B visas where people are looking at the applications that are out there, they're not for engineers and doctors and architects. There are literally, there's one for a stripper, dude, for like a male exotic dancer. It's like, why are we bringing in people on visas to be strippers? Why are we bringing in people on visas to do cleaning jobs, to do like maintenance and stuff? That's not what these programs are supposed to be for. And if it is what they're supposed to be for, people need to be honest about it. Again, if you're not using H-1B visas to bring in like the 0.001%, be honest about it. That's the problem, but they're not. And again, this lack of transparency from Elon and from everybody else who's supporting him is what's causing the issue. If people could be honest about it and meet like in the middle, I'm not even kidding, Mahendra. I can go back and find it. There are visas that have like menial jobs, things that are completely like non-high paying jobs, $20,000 salary on some of these. Musk's whole argument is that we need to keep America first, and it means getting more immigrants from other countries. I mean, H-1B is a priority of GTA 5. I don't even care about the whole GTA situation because I grew up not even playing the GTA games. So personally, like, people are always like, oh, is the new GTA going to be woke? I'm like, I really don't care, you know? Have I seen the dude that's coming over to strip? I don't think I want to. I don't spend too much time looking at male strippers, to be honest. So speaking of Canada, speaking of Trudeau, we got to go gaming news. Montreal. We have this game called South of Midnight. We've covered before. It's coming out very soon. And this is from Compulsion Studio. This is the one that's over in Montreal, if I do believe that's where they're from. Am I correct in this one? I think they're in Montreal, up there where Sweet Baby Inc. is. This is the one that, let me see, traced directly to their involvement in Sweet Baby Inc. and Microsoft. That's right, this is going to be a Game Pass game, day one. Yes, they are based in Montreal, Canada. Khalif Adams, Alyssa Mercante, that Paris dude from, he's not from Spawn on Me. He's from that other podcast that Danny Pena is on. These guys are all connected, right? And we're going to get into the whole gaming while black thing as well, because they all have a hand in that too. So Compulsion Studios has got this game coming out. And it just looks like dog crap, guys. I'm sorry. It looks like more of the same. Like okay, let's watch the video here, okay? Just play GTA San Andreas and GTA 4 Liber. But see, again, more games that I don't have time to play, you know? Hey, NS, it censored you again. If a country desperately strives to be the first winner by sacrificing their youth, they do not deserve to be anywhere in the race. Yeah, Booty Adams, exactly. Most things crap came from Canada, to be honest. Let me pull this up, because this video here, I'm curious what you guys all think. I have been very critical of games like this, because to me personally, this reminds me of what we saw from Flintlock. This reminds me of what we saw from Forspoken. It's like, for some weird reason, and somebody asked before, where does the DEI have the effect on the development of these games? Because if the DEI is in the narrative design, the developers are still making the game that they want to make when it comes to the combat and the mechanics and of how, you know, they move around the world within the game. So can you really blame DEI for the game's mechanics sucking? And I think that there's a correlation. I think at some point, stylistically, the people who are asking the developers to do certain things in the game all have the same like concept in their head, that they think that they're going to do something that nobody's seen before and it just looks lame. And this is the kind of crap I'm talking about. So this is what reminds me of Forspoken, like again, like Flintlock, the whole thing about being the traversal system in the game. It's like, we've seen a million games like this time and time again that are just, okay, yeah, twirl over this thing, glide over this thing, double jump over this thing. Nothing about this teaser that Compulsion put out a few days ago looks interesting to me. I don't know if this was one of these things where it's like, I'm being overly critical because I know who was involved in the game, or if we've just seen too much of the same crap over and over again, and it's getting really old. And it's like, if this is the best you have to offer, there's truly nothing left at this point. It's generic. Yeah, it's just generic. Looks mid and uninspired. Like, these games have the same vibe, both aesthetically and mechanically. Gaming while black people hate people like, yeah. Although I can't talk about Kyle because, like I said before, he blocked me for some weird reason. So I don't typically see his posts. I don't watch his YouTube stuff. No hard feelings. if people block me randomly for no reason that I've never interacted with, I don't go out of my way to watch their content. Unknown 9, thank you. Although Unknown 9 was worse, Austin, because Unknown 9, the mechanics of the game, they're like trying to dodge out of the way, and like the shoulders are stiff and everything's like nothing's moving properly. It was absolutely terrible. So this is the game coming out, Compulsion. And I'm sure a lot of you probably have forgotten by now, this person here who goes by, I think, Pikachulita on Twitter, is the Katie Robinson's the community manager for the game, and she's been like a complete racist in the back for the longest time. Talking about, we need to be very honest about the elephant in the room. The majority of the perpetrators are white adjacent cishet men. And again, she went protected a long time ago. Early last year, she had this tweet that was like, honestly, I hate gamers. And so a lot of this topic about compulsion games and this game South of Midnight, because there was alleged race swapping is going on. And so, of course, you can see here it says the bigger picture, compulsion game struggles are symptomatic of a broader problem in the gaming industry. DEI and ESG initiatives always come at the expense of merit and quality. This culture being created has left many talented developers feeling silenced and undervalued, while less qualified people are being raised up to be heard. And see, like I said, I think that there's a certain amount of this that plays into the where does the developer and the narrative designer or the consultants, where's the happy medium? Because like at some point, the developer still has control over the mechanics of the game and the gameplay itself, and the narrative designer has the idea behind the story and what beliefs and crap they want to have seen in the game. So at some point, you have to see who's more responsible for a bad game genuinely being bad. Let's see. Her talk now makes me not want to play the game. Oh yeah, Mahendra, you're talking about that. What is it? Missimi? I can't remember how to pronounce that. There was one of those. Somebody was telling me about it. I think Nightcore was telling me about it. What's the name of that game, dude? Mario, it looks like a free game. Yeah, exactly. 100%. Oh, Ty Slum, thanks for subscribing. Appreciate it. So the reason this comes up is because there's a lot of people who are not realizing that basically Kim Belair, Sweet Baby Inc., all these people through Ubisoft that she's connected to, and even like game studios like Compulsion Games, they're not going anywhere. So according to Master of the TDS, who has somebody, my side, thank you. If it's pronounced my side, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but I think that's how you pronounce it. She's in good company with the other racists, yeah. Nightcore said she basically hates non-woke people, so 95% of the population. But again, it's censored, Nightcore. My channel is so toast, guys. It's not even funny. Russian games don't get affected by DEI or ESG. No, but on the flip side, as much as I enjoy games that are exempt from all the DEI BS, you also have games like Escape from Tarkov, which is a Russian game, but for some weird reason is such a buggy mess, and they just can't seem to fix it ever. So there are some good Russian games. Unfortunately, I think that there are not as many as what you would see in AAA, just because, just sheer numbers. There are far more Western studios for, good, bad, or otherwise. But according to Master of the TDS, it seems like it doesn't matter with Sweet Baby Inc., getting exposed. It just seems like they're not going anywhere. You're fine with games like South of Midnight. It's a new IP. No one should care. Well, here's the thing, Tekla. I guess there is... allegedly, they fired the voice actress because she didn't sound black enough. And then, of course, they race swapped the original character from white to black. And that's not confirmed, but that is a rumor that's been going around for a while. Then, of course, you have the involvement of Sweet Baby Inc. So... Rivals is a W because Eastern Studio. I didn't know it was an Eastern Studio. I thought I knew it was Eastern. I thought it was like Chinese studio. Are we talking like Asian Eastern or like Eastern Europe? Didn't diminish them, like cover their tracks. Well, that goes back to that entire thing with the PAL group and partnering with them too. So from Fandom Pulse here, we have one that says a new rumor alleges that Kim Belair and her Sweet Baby Inc. consultancy have lost no contracts. I have a hard time believing that. I know Master of the TDS typically is really good with this information, but this does not seem possible. And they have at least 30 games they're working on still to be released. Okay, so there's a couple I could definitely see. Allegedly, they're working on a new Alan Wake game or something. They're working with Remedy. That's what Smash has this person, Maxine Sophia Wolf, who's a dude pretending to be a woman, says it doesn't stop at Alan Wake 2. Remedy Games is still infected with Sweet Baby Inc. According to SBI employee Maxine Sophia Wolf's public website, they're currently working on an unannounced Remedy game. So I don't know what that game is going to be. But again, there's a lot of possible connections there. Says this comes in the wake of Kim Blair also claiming her company had not been impacted financially from the boycott. Again, how that's possible, I don't know. Maybe because she got her money and doesn't have to worry about selling games. All she has to worry about is killing games. Of course, the Phantom Pulse article here also talks about the Twitch streamer Kazuma Hashimoto, who had previously said on a Twitch stream that basically developers are telling them that if you're connected to Sweet Baby Inc., they don't want to hire you because it's bad for their business. I don't know. Oh, you're just not worried about it? Yeah, I get that. It's also on, it's Chinese? Okay, thanks, guys. Yeah, I was pretty sure it was Eastern. I just didn't know if it was Chinese or not. Yeah, Remedy's making the Max Payne remake. Thank you. That's what it was. Yeah. Yeah, well, again, I mean, I played one or two of the Max Payne games back in the day. I thought it was good. It's not a franchise where I'd be like terrified if they got a hold of it personally. It's not something that's like, would keep me up at night. I don't want them connected to any franchise. Let's be clear about that. I don't want Sweet Baby Inc. or any of these studios that have these lunatics working at them making remakes or remasters or new games connected to old games or, whatever. But there are just some franchises I just really couldn't care less about. And I think for me personally, Max Payne's like, that's one of them. Kind of like GTA. Games I just never really got into. Yeah, I saw some people talking about how it's supporting Russian terrorism. There's been a lot of stupidity this last few weeks. Max Payne remake is already beyond dead on. It might be. It might be top G. Let me see here. Where are we at? Savvy Artist says Remedy is lost from within. Of course, they would hire friends to pass along free money to SBI. Pay attention to staff turnover in studios. Pay attention to who gets hired. And that's really the thing that we have to watch for, guys. And that's the hard part. You have to, honest to God, spend a lot of time not just worrying about the studios that have worked with Sweet Baby or whether Sweet Baby is currently involved on a new project. You also have to trace the people who have had effect at that company because of their connections to the consulting companies and see where they go. Because everywhere these people go, everywhere they pop up, they're going to be that bad egg in the bunch. They're going to be that bad apple that all it takes is one or two of those to start shaking down the executives saying, I felt threatened, I felt harassed, this triggered me, I don't like this in the game because it's, again, the crap that you see in games where they're putting trigger warnings in. That's those people, those sensitive people who go into a studio and they start doing this shakedown from the very beginning where it's like, oh no, this might offend trans people, so you can't have this in the game, right? It's got 13,000 followers on the official Japan page. Oh. You're not allowed to say free Taiwan, free Tibet, free Hong Kong. I saw Asmon's video about that. That was insane. That was absolutely nuts. Not surprising, though, to be honest. Let's see. That says they all tend to come from the same places. They make friends with other studios to climb the ladder to infect new IP. I think the actual creators of IP need to reconsider contracts with these companies. Going forward, people need to protect their IP better. These companies are nothing without the real talent, and it's a shame anyone can come in under a studio to muck it all up. I don't need any title from them ever again. I won't be missing out on anything. Well, and the thing is, like I've talked about, there are games that you may or may not have any fond history of. And then there's these new IPs like we talked about, South of Midnight, which looks like completely generic, boring slop. So even if it's woke or even if it's, preachy or whatever, I don't think it's going to make any money. I don't have to play it. I mean, I could check it out on Game Pass for free. That way I don't have to spend any money on it. We can kind of look at it and see how bad it really is. But at the end of the day, those games aren't going to have any effect on me personally. What it does have the effect on is that those people get a foothold into the video game industry, and then they kind of they trickle down into other studios because they can say, oh, I worked for Microsoft. I worked on this game. I was involved on this team. And then that's another studio that goes on their resume. That's really the part that you have to watch for. YouTubers are doing more games journalism than corporate media. Oh, Austin, that's a great tie-in. That is a great tie-in. Because, hey, it's censored Ryan. Ryan said F the commies. I agree with you there, dude. Speaking of the crossover of YouTube and journalism and games journalists, guess who's in with the YouTube algorithm now? Oh, yes, Alyssa Mercante, who, I have to say something, guys. This is what's really funny. Alyssa Mercante She's a well-known games journalist, well-known activist in the games media industry. She is somebody who has put herself out there. She's somebody who's harassed and attacked people. She has never shied away from making herself the story, calling herself all sorts of things like slutty, talking about how she was a former sex worker, saying she sucked dick for, for a job. All these things where it's like, these are not things that anybody should actually want to say out loud if they're trying to get hired as a professional, right? As a professional in the media, at least. So then she spends months going after YouTubers, calling us reactionaries, grifters, incels, liars, bigots, whatever. All to eventually go from being, senior editor at Kotaku to ex-senior editor at Kotaku. So she goes from former, self-admitted, cam girl, sex worker, whatever, to former editor-in-chief or senior editor at Kotaku. Former now Twitch streamer, I would say, because if she's going to be a Twitch streamer, she's probably going to find she likes YouTube better. So I'll say future former Twitch streamer, to where now she has moved on to YouTuber. Okay? This video is only 6 minutes and 42 seconds. We're going to watch it together because it's beautiful, guys. It's beautiful. Has 2 brain cells left and they both fight for third place. Mari, this is new. I think this video is from 8 hours ago. I don't know how old the channel is, but this is new, okay? Hang on a second. I have to prepare you guys for the cringe. Where is her channel at? Do I have it over here? I do have her channel over here because I wanted to show you guys something in a second. Her channel, she's up to 102 subscribers. It is been around since September 11th, 2011. She signed up on September 11th. She joined YouTube on the 10-year anniversary of September 11th. That's kind of weird. Wait. What? Is that a coincidence or is that something really disturbing? I don't know how to feel about that. Anyways, that's not important, whatever. So, her video, it's all 6 minutes and 42 seconds of it, right? You bet most of her subscribers are bots. No. It's people that are supporting her, but it's not people who necessarily are YouTube watchers. These are people who spend more of their time like on Blue Sky and stuff, right? Yeah, she made her YouTube account. I'll show you guys right here. She made the account she joined September 11th, 2011. It's a very weird day to make a YouTube account. Her mustache is coming in nice. Yeah, it's Mahendra. I watched about 4 minutes of it. On Twitter earlier. Well, actually, I watched it on YouTube, but it was through Twitter. But yeah. Right, Austin Tekla. That's kind of what I'm thinking. It's like there's a strange connection there. I think. I don't know. I feel like there's something there, even if I can't prove it. Anyways, Alyssa Mercante, ladies and gentlemen, her first YouTube video.
To be a games journalist takes luck.
Mind you, there's a way to do this, right? There's a way to do this as a Twitch streamer, and it's something that I personally have considered doing in the past, where you take a live stream, whether it's half an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours of it, and you cut it apart into like a 10-minute video. The problem is that takes a lot of editing, rather than just taking the time to get your sources out, get your thoughts put together, and record a 10, 15-minute video from scratch. I wouldn't say that it's lazy to chop up a live stream into a video, because honestly, it would take me more time editing the video than it would if I just sat down and recorded my thoughts for 10 minutes straight. But there is something about the fact that you feel either your stream was so good, so on point, or that you feel like you can't have an original 10-minute thought strung together, that you have to take 2 hours of yourself rambling and edit together to make that something. Hey, but she's got 119 subs on Twitch, so that's good. You guys can't see it. Down here it says 119 of 170. That's far more Twitch subs than I ever had. Very interesting. Okay, so here we go.
First of all, as you can see from the fact that I am one of hundreds of unemployed games journalists, the industry is shrinking. Modern media is disappearing, and it's...
Her t-shirt says, "I'd trade my boyfriend for something." I can't really tell what that says, but that interesting choice of shirts. Didn't she say that she had an abortion a couple months ago Can't remember if she said she still had her boyfriend or not. No, not 130,000. No. So on Twitch, I don't know how many followers she has on Twitch. She's got 119 paid subs on Twitch. Because remember, on Twitch they call it followers and subs, whereas on YouTube it's subs and members. Speed video to 1.2.5. Let's do 125. Let's do that. Playback speed. Let's do 125. Maybe it'll take it down to about 5.5 minutes.
Being replaced by influencer culture and reactionaries. You need to be a little bit more open-minded to the way in which you impart journalism as a games journalist in 2025. That's why I'm trying this. I think you need to be flexible with the ways in which your stories, your reporting, your opinion pieces, your commentary.
This is what I'm talking about. So, okay. I don't know if this is just a gap in her rhetoric, but I've noticed this before when I'm doing a video. If I'm going to record a video all the way through, and if I have a momentary lapse, my kid comes out and I have to pause the video, or my dog's barking and then I have to hit break, I'll cut and paste things once in a while because there's a dead air for like a minute and a half, right? But this is one of these things where it's like, did you just stutter and stammer for so long that you couldn't come up with original thoughts? So you truly had to take a middle of a sentence and put a break in it because you just couldn't think that quickly. Like, I don't get it. Yeah, no, she has a boyfriend. I'm sure she has no trouble finding men. Trust me, there's somebody for everybody.
Be flexible with the ways in which your stories, your reporting, your opinion pieces, your commentary, the ways in which you bring that to the world, the ways that you present it. So I think, yes, obviously, there's the traditional thing of Ollie Welsh writing about Black Myth Wukong, continuing its gaudy streak, and it getting published on Polygon.com. But there's also things like what I'm trying to do. It's not necessarily like proving to be the most lucrative thing in the world, and growing a Twitch channel takes a lot of work and a lot of time. There are so many people who
Okay, so again, she was a senior editor at Kotaku. And she's talking about how growing a Twitch channel takes a lot of work and a lot of time. It's, at this point, why would you go to Twitch as a platform? They're going to shut down probably in the next year and a half. Amazon has never made a dime on Twitch. So they're going to continue to milk their customers and screw their content creators as much as they can to try to recover as much of their lost revenue as possible. Why would you go to Twitch if you're a grown-ass woman? Look, Alyssa Mercante's 34, 35 years old. She's not that much younger than me. Despite her calling middle-aged men, 40-year-old white guys, like that's an insult, she's not that far away from them, right? She's closer to 40 than she is to 20. So what I don't understand is this is her job now. This is her career, is going to be a Twitch streamer and YouTube anti-reactionary content creator. I'm so confused. It gets better, guys, because I did watch through about 4 minutes of this. This is her plan on YouTube, is she is going to be the counterculture for the anti-woke reactionary counterculture, okay?
have become reactionary YouTubers who are making
that's me.
Making money and content off of this reporting that we all know is rooted in obfuscations and lies and all of this stuff.
Okay. We all know that mainstream media is at an all-time low for trust, right? That includes games media. That includes every outlet that's owned by some multinational conglomerate, where there's, definitely hands that have to be washed and everything else, where again, money has to change hands because of the fact that the way that these companies all work, if you look at a headline and then you trace that headline back to similar headlines, and then you trace those headlines back to who owns those companies, there's a handful of companies that own 90% of the media outlets. So when you start seeing a coordinated media attack or defense of something, and you start connecting the dots, you go, oh, wait a second, these places, these outlets are all running the same story because they're all owned by the same company, like same 3 or 4 companies. And yet she's over here saying how basically YouTubers are the ones that fault because we've taken a story, taken it out of context, spread lies, and ran with it. And she needs to be here as the media expert to basically fact check us, if you will.
So my belief is that if there's somebody who is consistently online combating that, then that there is a way for this to be a new sort of avenue for modern video game journalists. And it could be good, but it is also very hard to get this up off the ground. So I think that is something that games journalists in 2025, they have to be willing to be a little bit more fluid with what they're doing and how they're doing it. That's why I want to do stuff like this. Like, I know this stuff. I know these people that are reporting on these things. I know the PR people that are reaching out to them. And I think having a conversation about it, sitting down and saying,
it gets good.
So
just
let's
wait.
put this into perspective. Black Myth Wukong wins Gotti at the Steam Awards. Okay, it's
Hey guys, we're all more or less gamers here, right? You don't have to self-identify as a gamer. Okay, I think most people who self-identify as a gamer, it's kind of cringe because like most of us grew up on video games. We play video games. That's just what we enjoy. Why would you say Gotti instead of Game of the Year? Does she think like using shorthand stuff? Again, this woman's close to my age. Okay, I've never ever heard any. Am I crazy? Does anybody actually say Gotti when they're referring to Game of the Year? Is it really that hard to say? I don't know. There are things about these mannerisms that just irritate the crap out of me.
Fan voted. Okay, why would Black Myth Wukong win Gotti at the Steam Awards if it's fan voted, and if it's honestly just a pretty mid game? It has to do with the fact that this
woman has never played Black Myth Wukong. You can have issues with the game. I have legitimate issues with Black Myth Wukong as far as some of the gameplay goes. The game is at least a 7.5 or 8 out of 10. Easily 7.5 or 8 out of 10. Okay. No, see, that's the thing, Mahendra. She has played games. She has. Whether she enjoys playing games is a whole other story. But she has played games. She played Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree. She did the review for Kotaku. Sure, she did not play the entire thing. She didn't do like everything possible in the game. But she still had to play video games. So for her to say the game is mid, okay, and what she gets to eventually is the fact that the only reason that they voted for it for Game of the Year at the Steam Awards is because of the culture war shit. She's absolutely insane. Nightcore got censored, guys, but he said, I hate this freaking woman who doxes people because people disagree with her. Yeah, I agree, dude.
Has become a sort of standard bearer for these quote-unquote culture war going on in modern video games. That, you know, in November 2023, Reb and Kihun reported on a toxic work environment that was happening at Game Science. Rebecca did an absolutely, unsurprisingly brilliant job.
This is my favorite part.
Is one of the best journalists in the video game industry. She went through absolute hell. She's nominated with me for Worst Journalist at the Gamer Awards. But I'm going to win, Reb, so suck my dick. You perfect, amazing bitch. This piece was published in November 2023.
It gets better.
It was incredibly well reported, well researched. I mean, look at how long it is. Look at everything that she's pulled up here.
So Alyssa Mercante, amazing journalist that she is. You know, she uses a lot of big words. She likes big words. She'll do that in her articles. She'll use big words, throw them out there just to make herself sound smart. She says Rebecca Valentine, who wrote this hit piece on Black Myth Wukong, is amazing, best games journalist out there, did a lot of work. Look how many words she used. More word equal better article. More word equal more truth. Let me see. If you have to use more words to try to make your argument, odds are you're lying. Just saying. If you have to use an unending stream of like word salad to look, we saw Kamala Harris do this. Okay, the woman would have the longest, most drawn out sentences and answers of all time, and at the end of the day, say nothing of substance. But she's over here saying Rebecca Valentine, more word equal gooder. Now, she didn't insult her, Mahendra. She was saying that affectionately because Rebecca Valentine and her are up for Worst Games Journalist at the Real Game Awards. And so she's just being, you know, catty with her, but it's all in love, I'm sure. Shorter's better. I mean, here's the thing, Mari. I don't mind long-form content. Most of the videos that I tend to watch go from 10 to 30 minutes. Like if it's a Lotus Eaters segment where they're talking about something in depth, it could go up to 45 minutes. I've watched videos from some ordinary gamers that are 45 minutes long going through a deep dive of something. Upper Echelon's had some 20 plus minute videos. Back when he was still doing videos, Dread Roberts would do like a 25-minute video. I watch long form comment, okay? But if you have to use more words just to get your point across, then what is your point to begin with, okay? And mind you, okay, let me bring this up here for you guys. Since she decided she wants to talk about Rebecca Valentine, okay? Oh, la. I got to do this for my anonymous buddy over there at Deck 9 who lost his job. Because if Rebecca Valentine did a hit piece on the studio that did Life is Strange also. I did a video about that a while ago. Let me see, IGN. We'll put sexism in there. That should do it. Okay. From April of last year, here's a prime example of Rebecca Valentine's level of reporting, okay? Because this was a long one also. I'm sorry, guys. This is a Chrome tab. I should have brought this up in Brave. Holy crap, IGN, what are you doing to me here? Next time we bring this up in Brave. Here we go. This was from Rebecca Valentine from a year ago. How hidden Nazi symbols were the tip of a toxic iceberg at Life is Strange developer Deck 9. This article is very long. Rebecca Valentine likes to write long articles. Very, very long articles. And it took me a few days of pulling this apart piece by piece and talking to the guy that I was speaking to inside of Deck 9 to understand the real story. The story Rebecca Valentine wanted to paint with this studio here was that Deck 9, the studio that got the rights to make Double Exposure, is full of a bunch of people who weren't queer enough, weren't representative enough of their audience, weren't kind enough to people of different lifestyles and experiences, that they weren't woke enough, was basically what it comes down to. That there's all this hidden Nazi imagery in the game, that there's all this sexism in the workplace. When you compare the story that she wrote with the witnesses who basically said, well, I kind of felt this way, or I didn't think anything of it until people pointed me in this direction. And then I realized, oh yeah, that might have been sexism. And then you talk to people from inside the studio like I actually did. I spoke to a developer in the studio and he said basically, yeah, this is all bullshit. He pointed me in the direction of this article. Now, it didn't save his job, unfortunately. It didn't save a lot of people's jobs who had nothing to do with it. But the reality is, just because you can write a long article and cherry pick evidence and speak to who you want to speak to, again, make your argument and make it sound as valid as possible, it doesn't mean shit. Writing more words doesn't mean anything, okay? It doesn't. She did a hit piece on the Days of Fallujah devs. That doesn't surprise me. That doesn't surprise me one bit. So, yeah, no, I had a suspicion it'd be crap, dude. Once they got, and it was already a fairly left-leaning game anyways. Once they got Laura Kate Dale, who also worked on Dragon Age Veilguard, to work on that, you knew it was toast, okay? So again, her praising Rebecca Valentine is right on brand.
Here, it is really, really, really well done. Once Black Myth Wukong started getting a lot more attention again because it was nearing release, everyone found this article that Reb wrote, 6, 7, 8 months ago and started dogpiling on her for it. And so in that, since it was happening not too long after the Sweet Baby Ink piece happened and all of that drama, it kind of got roped into this culture war because clearly that title.
What she's not saying is the Sweet Baby Ink piece was where Alyssa Mercante inserted herself at the beginning of March into this entire conversation and tried to defend them and attack gamers. That was it. That was it. Same as fill paper on one question so examiner won't be able to check it. Yeah, pretty much. And us, I don't know. I imagine it's incredibly hard to sue a journalist. We've seen journalists, we've seen news anchors and media personalities sued for, libel or slander or whatnot. I don't know how easy it would be to sue her based on, again, opinion pieces, if you will. Especially not if she can say, well, I had a source, or I'm using this piece here as evidence. Basically, it's like, I don't know. I think that would devolve into a he said, she said, but it would be interesting. I'd find that very interesting to watch.
Alone will make a gooner be like, yeah, buddy, you're saying.
Okay, hang on. I don't understand how she goes from talking about Black Myth Wukong to talk about Gooners. Not to mention, I can do... God, Alyssa is such a freaking hypocrite. My God. Okay, Kotaku. Hades 2. Let me see. Oh, I wonder who wrote that. Very interesting. It's like Alyssa forgets that the internet exists, right? So in this video, she wants to talk about gooners, people who are sexual deviants or perverts, if you will, for the monkey game, because Black Myth Wukong is in the center of a culture war. Alyssa, the one who wrote Hades 2 is the kind of hot we need right now. And she goes into this game, her and Ash Parrish at The Verge both wrote articles about this game, talking about the hotness and the sexuality of the characters in this game, basically because of the fact that the females are not female, they're big butch masculine like muscle mommies, and there's a fat dude in a wheelchair, and they were getting off on it. Okay? But she's the first person to attack anybody else and call them a gooner over a game that had none of that kind of crap. Black Myth Wukong, I'm halfway through the game. There's been a couple very attractive women, but they're fully clothed, not even cleavage as far as I remember. So I don't understand where she goes from talking about Black Myth Wukong to talking about gooning. Hey, Truth, how's it going, dude? You can't say I'm stating an opinion then present it as facts. Freedom of speech is not. Well, that's true. That is true. No, yeah, it's 100% Oblivion where her head is always at. And then she wants to project that on everybody else.
It's culture war because clearly that title alone will make a gooner be like, yeah, buddy, you're sexist? Well, count me in. Yuck, I really want to buy your game. What became the litmus test for anti-woke.
I mean, I do voices too from time to time, but holy crap, dude. Hey, Zav, I see what you did there. No, you're not wrong, though. So here's her thing. If it's conventionally attractive and will attract a large percentage of its heterosexual male audience, especially white or, non-POC heterosexual male audience, that's bad because it's conforming to a worldview that she doesn't agree with. Maybe it's her easy way to get attention. Well, so Mari, the thing about Alyssa that you really have to understand, and I know that some of it probably gets lost in a cultural shift, like a rift, and maybe something lost in translation. As a games journalist, Alyssa Mercante has made herself the story from the get-go. So if you're writing a piece for a journalistic outlet, or if you're pretending to be a reporter and you're talking about the story itself, if you're going to do reporting on something as being fact-based, or even opinion piece, but you're still going to do an opinion piece on a story that's supposed to be based in reality, making yourself the story is like, it's like journalism 101 is don't make yourself the story. You're reporting on something else. You're observing something else. This is a great old movie called The Paper. Has Michael Keaton, Robert Duvall, a ton of people are in it. Glenn Close. It's got a huge cast. Marissa Tomei. And Robert Duvall is explaining to Glenn Close at one point because she's having money troubles. He's like the head honcho at the newspaper. And I think she's the head editor. I can't remember the positions that they're in. But he's explaining to her about how basically as a reporter, you don't live in the same world as the people you're reporting. You follow them, you watch them, you film them, you take pictures of them, you write stories about them, but you're living in their world. You don't exist essentially if you're a reporter. And that's the way it's supposed to be, is you are not including yourself in the story. You are supposed to be there reporting the truth, reporting the facts, and observing, making observations about what you've seen. And that's the problem with Alyssa, is that she has from the very get-go been an attention whore. And so she's not happy to be a reporter of fact. She's not happy to be explore evidence and try to go down rabbit holes like some people. Like, I enjoy going down rabbit holes. I know a lot of people on Twitter do. Savvy Artist does a great job with that. Kirsch Verstahl does rabbit holes and deep dives and stuff. Alyssa needs to be the center of attention. So Black Wall Gaming. Oh, we'll get there. We will get there. Let me see. Those cards from The Witcher, it's barely even risque, let alone... Yeah. Oblivion, I went through and looked at those recently, and I didn't think any of them were what I would refer to as, like, pornographic. I don't view any of those like that. Are they a little risque? Sure. So what? Did a little risque ever kill anybody? No.
Gaming, right? So the fact that it was even nominated for Gotti is crazy. At the Game Awards is crazy. Like, I'm not sitting here going like, this game sucked. It was a perfectly
oh, yo, check out the alert. You guys see this up here? So new follower or new sub, that's something up there, right? It goes by really fast, especially on this speed, but look at what it says.
Nominated for Gotti is crazy. At the Game Awards is crazy. Like, I'm not sitting here going like, this
You guys see that? Trans rights.
game sucked. It was a perfectly fine
This is why Twitch for me is cancer. Okay, because this is the shit that appeals to people on Twitch, and personally, I can't stomach it.
Reinvent the wheel. It was a little rote in terms of the things that it was doing. It looked pretty cool, and that was it. Like, it is a thoroughly mid game. It is a game that you would play by probably go through it because you get like wrapped up in the simplicity of it. You'd enjoy it, and you'd beat it, and you'd never play it again. That's a fucking 6. That's a 6. That's not a Gotti. It's not anti-woke. I mean, there's like no women in it, but like that's so many games. But
there's no women in it. Oh my god, well, it's like in the 40s here. It's I told you guys, Washington winter. It's like imagine like the UK. It's gray and wet. We don't get much snow. It just gets gross here. It's just gonna be gray for the next 5 months. She has Alaska temperature IQ. Yeah. No. So, okay. Whether or not you choose to replay a game is entirely up to you. Alyssa's saying you're not going to replay this game, so it's a 6. Well, I think Elden Ring's a 10, and I've only played through it one time. Does that mean that Elden Ring's not really a 10, that Elden Ring's a 6? Explain this to me. Because there's a lot of factors that keep people from playing a game more than once. I don't have the time, you know? I love Becker. I watched like every episode of Becker, but I was a teenager. I don't know if I remember the episode PC World, but Guitar Man, you're speaking my language. I love Becker. Great show. Spoken like a follower of Feminist Frequency. Yeah. But here's the thing, Zav. Black Myth Wukong has women in it. It has. You know that freak airbagged, that Kate Bush's husband idiot on Twitter? That dude streams on Twitch, and he bought Black Myth Wukong or stole a copy of it. He probably stole a copy of it. And he played through with a counter saying, encounters with women, 0 out of 0, right? And then, 1 out of 1 or 0. Basically, trying to prove a point that the Chinese developers hate women. But then it's like, so far in the game, I've encountered like 2 or 3 female characters. Most of what you encounter are monsters. Not male or female, they're just monsters. So you don't know what they are. But these guys are so obsessed with the idea that these guys hate women that this idiot literally put a female encounter ticker on his Twitch stream. Okay?
Of course, yes, this was like the standard bearer for anti-woke games. Everybody knew that it was going to win the fan-voted things, and it did. Ultimate Game of the Year at Golden Joysticks. It won Player's Voice category at the 2024 Game Awards. It won IGN's Community Awards. It's won fan-voted awards in Spain, Croatia, Turkey, and Brazil. I'm not shocked that this is like this. And of course, Black Myth Wukong and fan-voting awards is something that is being pushed by the people who are starting the real Game Awards. Fans are not voting in the Oscars. They're not voting in the Golden Globes. They're not voting. As much as we enjoy watching these events.
Do you guys want to know why she's so mad? I can sum it up for you real quick here. I can tell you why she's so mad. Hang on. Let me I'm going to open a tab in Brave, because Brave is obviously far superior to I don't know if I have it brought up. Hang on a second. Why is this? I go to minimize it and the thing is freaking huge. Good lord. This is like the American extra large supersize browser tab here. Here we go. Wow. Let me see if I've got it here. There we go. Okay. If you're at all curious why she's so mad. Oh boy. Hey, why can't I scroll over? Where's my scroll tab at? That's big enough. That's what she said. So, she's got this lawsuit. She's got this lawsuit against Smash JT. And the reality is, she is going to get destroyed in the lawsuit, right? She's going to get absolutely obliterated, okay? And in a matter of a few days, he blew past his goal, his defense fund goal. This Give Send Go is almost at $61,000. $61,000, okay? Now again, would I like to see this money go to a better cause than paying a lawyer so Smash can fight her off in court? Absolutely. And if he doesn't have to spend all of it, I'm hoping that he's talked about donating it to charity before. That's what I'm hoping happens with this money, because I don't want to see this money have to go towards a lawsuit where he has to defend himself from her. But if it needs to be done, it needs to be done. But again, here she is talking about how she's struggling to get her Twitch channel off the ground. Now she's going to YouTube to grift off of the whole anti-woke reactionary YouTube content creator. And it's like, this is why she's mad, guys. This woman is pure narcissism. That's all she is. She's narcissism incarnate. And for her, the fact that she isn't getting famous for the right reasons, that it's not leading to her making more money, it's not leading to her having more jobs or getting more gigs, I'll take a look. My wife and I, we finished a few shows, and so we'll have to start watching Becker. And my wife, I'm sure she likes Dead Dance, and we can watch that. That show is so good. Yeah, but yeah, this is why she's pissed off. This is why she's always angry.
Events, as much as we enjoy seeing the red carpet, seeing the acceptance speeches, seeing the performances. This is a industry event by industry people for industry people. Every single major award show is...
Hang on, Alyssa, shut your mouth a second. Tekla, that is a great point. We're either a vocal minority or we're swaying fan votes. Pick one, Alyssa. Yeah, see, here's the problem. Here is really the problem when it comes down to it. This is what we've seen before. It's not just video game guys. Really what happened was Rotten Tomatoes, a lot of these websites that do the ratings for movies and TV shows really got exposed the last few years, right? Really got exposed because of the fact that there's such a divide between critics and audiences. And the critics for so long were used to telling fans, you need to watch this. You know, Siskel and Ebert give it 2 thumbs up. And it's like most of the time, or at least half the time, if Siskel and Ebert said a movie's good, you still had a 50-50 chance of it being complete dog shit, right? Because it's like, just because some critic who sniffs his own farts for a living and tells himself how intelligent he is because some movie has some obscure thought behind it or some weird meaning that you can't pick up on because it's so hidden under like subcontext and crap that if you're a normal, everyday working class person and you watch movies for entertainment and you don't get it, it's because you're unintelligent, not because the movie sucks. So we've noticed the same thing with the video game industry with the way that they rate games. If the game appeals to the everyday gamer, where you just want a good, engaging, well-made, entertaining, visually stunning, and nice sounding and looking game, that's not good enough anymore. Rotten Tomatoes protects big corporate companies. That's exactly what they are there for. Well, Mari, I don't know if you've seen old pictures of Alyssa. She was a nice looking woman when she first started. Perfectly nice. I don't think she was like some bombshell or anything, but she's certainly, I would say at her peak, definitely better looking than I was. That's not saying much, but still. I'm trying to throw a dog a bone here. And unfortunately for her, leftism created the woman that you're seeing in front of us now. It's just unfortunate.
Is voted on by people who are within that industry. And if I'm being completely honest with you, that's how it should be, because those are people who understand the work and the effort, the best that goes into those things. If you are inside that industry, you are working with people in that industry, you were reporting on things in that industry, you know back to front how much effort it takes for someone to get so into the character in a movie that they lose themselves for a little bit.
Oh my God.
Or, you know, someone to make an album.
Oh my God. So she's talking about rewarding. Oh my God. Hey, Susano. Dude, if I was simping for a woman, if I was going to be simping for somebody, it would be like Monica Bellucci or not Sydney Sweeney. Don't even get me started on the Sydney Sweeney fan train. Look, Sydney Sweeney's a nice looking girl. We got nothing wrong. Nothing wrong with that. But like the fan train is a little too insane over Sydney Sweeney. See, Zav, I'm in the minority of people where I don't have an issue with tattoos on women. I have an issue with bad tattoos. I don't like bad tattoos. I like good tattoos on women. I just don't. You love coming in without any context. I need a That's What She Said player. Damn it. Do I have a sound for That's What She Said? How do I not have that? Here, you get this one instead. Oh, man. You've lost your mind if you... No, but okay. I get what he's saying, though, dude. I really get what he's saying. So... here's what she's saying, though. This is the crazy thing. This woman is absolutely certifiably nuts. It's going to be a chow from me, dog. I'm not bad-mouthing Sydney Sweeney. I think she's a perfectly nice-looking woman with decent assets, and I think that that's perfectly great. I don't think she's a 10 out of 10, and I think that's okay. But I also don't like Hollywood 10s for the most part. You know, for a while, I thought the best-looking, like, prettiest woman in Hollywood was the chick off of Wedding Crashers. I think she was also on that movie, The Notebook. What's her name? She looks like some girl next door. She's not like, you know, some fake plastic Kardashian looking chick. One of you guys have to help me out here. I cannot remember her name. She was in Doctor Strange for like 5 minutes. She's like his ex-wife or whatever. Alyssa's insane tier 10 crazy, yeah. If Sydney's not a 10, then who's a 10? Well, okay, I'm not here to shit on Sydney Sweeney. Like I said, I think she's a perfectly nice looking woman. No, Anya Taylor-Joy, dude, what did she do with her face, man? I'm sorry. That buccal fat removal thing? Rachel McAdams. Thank you. Rachel McAdams. Well, Tekla, I think any man who is lucky enough to be with a woman who, if she's a nice girl, if she's actually a good person in real life's a whole different story, who looks like Sydney Sweeney's a lucky guy. Great. Awesome. No, not Isla Fisher, Rabnet. I was talking about Rachel McAdams. Rachel McAdams. Yes. For me, I would fight to the death that in Hollywood, she's the best looking because she just looks like a naturally pretty woman. I hate the fake plastic surgery, lip injection, Botox, all that crap, you know? Yeah. Yeah, so for me, that'd be my type. Again, okay. She was in the time. Yeah, Time Traveler's Wife was an interesting movie. So, what is her name? My wife knows this gal that I'm going to talk about. Rona Mitra. If you guys remember the whole thing about having a list of 5 people that you're allowed to sleep with, like if you ever met your celebrity crush or whatever. Yeah, that's Rona Mitra, guys. I'm sorry, that for me she's like right there at the top. And my wife gets it. We've talked about it. She's like, yeah, she's probably on my wife's list also. Oh, man. Botulism sexy? Ew, no. Love how quickly the chat evolved into a bro fest about rating babes. Well, let's see. Here's the thing, though. You want to know my honest opinion about like the whole Sydney Sweeney thing? I think too many guys who are on the side of, slutty women are bad and we don't like whores and all this sort of stuff. And I can understand that. You don't want a woman who's sexually like exploiting herself or sleeping around. I'm 100% of the opinion that people should be less promiscuous, a little more modest. Sure, I'm on board with that. But those same guys give Sydney Sweeney a pass when she's like naked in 90% of her movies. So I don't get that. I feel like there's this weird hypocrisy among guys where it's like, oh yeah, I don't want a woman who's going to be like taking her clothes off and, naked and everyone guys slept with her. But it's like, but then you're fantasizing about women that make movies where they're naked and everyone's seen them naked. I don't know. Alyssa will never see a good thing in life even when it's in front of her. All right, Mahendra, we'll get back to the topic. Don't worry. But if you got to go, you got to go. I'm sorry, dude. Madam Web lady? Who is that? Yeah, Sydney Sweeney. Yeah. She was one of the supporting actresses. Let me enjoy my Sid the Sloth. I was wondering what NS was talking about. I'm not saying that Anya Taylor-Joy looks like Sid the Sloth mixed with an alien. I just don't like the plastic surgery, dude. I've never been a fan of women doing that to their face.
Album front to back that they've produced themselves. You can do both. Like, you can have fan-voted awards, and you can have industry awards. But I think...
Alyssa, that's what these are. That's what these are. Oh my God. She wants to complain because fans get to vote about games for fan-voted awards, and then the industry has their own awards. No, Alyssa, you're lying. Your issue is not that fan-voted awards exist. Well, no, sorry, that is your issue. It's not that they're mixing up the two, that, the fans don't know all the hard work this voice actress went through, or the developers and the crunch that they had to go through, so you have to give a bad game a good score, even if it's a bad game. Her issue is that fans have a say at all. Holy crap. Does this woman ever tell the truth? Like, ever? You think if she stopped having roles with nudity, it wouldn't change anything? I disagree. Sorry, guys. NS got censored there on YouTube as usual. I think there's a certain mentality among guys where it's okay if a girl is not yours and she's naked and you can see her and lust after her or fantasize about her, and that's okay. Because as a guy, it doesn't hurt you because you're not married to her. But then those same guys will be like, oh, Sydney Sweeney's like, I want to be with her. And it's like, well, are you going to be jealous if she does that after the fact? I don't know. Not everyone cares. And that's okay. Not everyone cares. Works best for her compared to someone like the boys chick? I don't know. To me, it looks bad on both of them. Alyssa, how dare the rabble have a voice? Exactly. That's truly it. Hey, Lugia, woman wants to live in the communist world. Well, she's basically a communist. Lugia getting censored here. All my members are getting censored. That says something bad about me, doesn't it?
I think the frustration is that flattening. And again, this is the internet, right? The internet deletes nuance. The internet is the enemy of nuance. Chinese gamers are not a monolith. They had a legitimate Chinese made game with a traditional. Yeah, that's true. China showed up and showed out. And that's fine. That's fine. We knew this was going to happen. Jeff Keighley has said that he wants the Game Awards to be like the Oscars, and that's what they are. And this serves a different purpose. But yes, I believe that it won twofold. I think part of the reason why it won is because it's being hailed as this brand new anti-woke thing. And the other reason why it's being hailed is because it's a Chinese game based on Chinese lore, which is pretty underserved in the video game industry.
So it's being hailed as an anti-woke game for two reasons. One, first off, guys, I've received offers last year back before my channel just like flatlined. I received offers from a few different independent developers to play their games. One of them was an AI game. I'm not kidding. It was made with AI. The reviews I read for on Steam were not good. I never took the time to play it. But I could have decided to play that game and be like, oh my God, I have an anti-woke game. This is the best thing ever. And I could have lied through my teeth and said, this game is great. Everybody needs to play this game, right? But the game wouldn't have been good. So why would I bother doing that? What's the point of winning if you're lying through your teeth to win, right? People didn't just support Black Myth Wukong because, oh, it's anti-woke. It's a damn good game. And it's not, the game is not anti-woke, it's just a game. That's the thing. These guys are looking at everything as either anti-woke or, you know, in the favor of DEI, and it's like, no. There's somewhere in between. There's what we call normal games. Normal video games that don't preach at you, where you just have a good story, good gameplay, like I said, where you just have everything about the game is just geared towards gamers. Now, if the DEI pushing people want to say that that's anti-woke, well, that's a label they're going to put on it. I'm not calling Black Myth Wukong anti-woke. It is just a freaking game, okay? No, the game's not anti-woke, Susanna. I'm telling you. The real conservative mindset is about enjoying pretty femininity and not, I want to see women be promiscuous if she isn't with me, but not so if I'm dating her. Hypocrisy isn't. Well, dude, you know I don't really take many sides in all this stuff. I find myself kind of on an island once in a while. It was culturally significant. That's the thing. It was very culturally significant to them.
Thank you very much, sir.
Alyssa's the type of
You're
person,
a gentleman and a scholar.
I'll let her play with my console with a disconnected controller, and she probably won't even notice, to be honest. Hey, James, thanks for subscribing. Appreciate it. Not even in the conversation to the player base. Yeah. Well, it's really funny because we'll get to the we're gonna get to the blacked wall gaming wall blacked or whatever. Oh man.
Period. The end. We should view major award shows as celebrations of the people making things in that specific industry by the people in that industry. And we should view separate fan voted awards as a celebration of people making things in an industry by fans of that industry.
That doesn't make any sense though. We should celebrate the games awards as a celebration of the people that made the games. So this is, somebody mentioned the communism thing. This is essentially a communistic way of looking at it. It doesn't matter if the game was good, doesn't matter if the game had merit, doesn't matter if the game made money, doesn't matter if the game lost people jobs, doesn't matter if the game had fans, doesn't matter if the game pissed off everybody else imaginable. But what happens for her is that what matters is you give the award to the best corporate product, the biggest corporate product, again, that you're being told is the appropriate corporate product to give the award to, okay? Not the game that had the most fans, the game that had the best fan service, the games that had the most entertaining qualities, or the best soundtrack. Right? She's looking at it purely as corporation made product, X number of people worked on product, therefore the mostest people working on biggest product is the goodest product ever. That's it. Well, Austin, here's the problem. She probably realized that she wanted to start the YouTube thing, and she had an hour and a half, 2 hour stream, and that was probably the most worthwhile thing out of the entire stream that she had, if we're being fair. I could probably make a 10-minute video out of all the clips of us watching and talking about her and have a better, more substantive video than whatever it is that she put out there. The game has men that live as animals. There's a gender swap in the game. We talking about Black Myth Wukong? Gender swap. What gender swap in the game? Oblivion getting censored on YouTube. Also, communists wouldn't even celebrate the individuals. It's just bleeding heart syndrome. That is true. Although, yeah, because again, the communists, you're all just cogs in the wheel. So really. Oh, dude, honest to God, I think the whole Too Many Cooks thing is really where we're at. That's peak AAA gaming right now. They ain't paying her. That very well could be it. It could be that she just doesn't profit from this. But yeah, truth, that was simpler times though, dude. That was back in the simpler days where we didn't always have to think about how the media was lying to us and that they're gaslighting us and everything else. You sent me a banger? Oh boy. Better be fire. Better be lit. Oh, what are you going to call the game? You going to call the game 40%? I don't even want to go there. Child bakes cake with so much effort but puts salt instead. It's still not the best cake ever. Well, okay, Mari, thank you. That is beautiful. That is a perfect rebuttal to her point. If my child, okay, here's a little bit of parenting 101 here, right? At a certain age, if your child brings you something with love and that they worked on, you tell them it's the best thing ever because you don't want to hurt their little sensitive feelings. Okay. If a child gets older and needs to know how to fix problems and correct things and brings you something they worked hard on, but it's really not good, you have to lovingly tell them in the most appropriate way possible that there are things that they need to fix, that there are things that need to be made better, that it was a good effort, but that they need to do better. You don't need to do that with adults. And yet Alyssa acts like these people are children. She acts like, okay, but all these people work so hard on something. So what? You can spend your days working hard really poorly, and nobody is entitled to your money, your praise. I mean, she just, honest to God, has no brain cells. Either that or she herself. Okay, so Alyssa likes to call people like me, people like Hypnotic, Smash JT, John Trent. She likes to call all these people grifters. Grifter means you don't believe the thing you're saying. You're just saying it for money to benefit yourself. It's just a lie. You're grifting. You'll swing whichever way that the wind blows, whichever topic is the current topic. You're just going to talk about that and you have no real opinions. And yet she herself can't even properly define the position that she takes. She can't even, she can't form a coherent thought to defend her own arguments. She and her colleagues were of the same mind when presenting their perspective on every issue. Yeah, where's the nuance there, right? Not sure if that's the right one. Started as an ally-like character. I'll have to check because I played through. I'm halfway through Black Myth Wukong. I'm like at this in stages of chapter 3. Interesting. I'll have to take a look. So here's the best part, guys. I have this brought up on Chrome so we can actually see like to dislike. And Alyssa currently is getting buried in the responses. Now, here's what I want to know, guys. I don't know. I'd be curious to have a few you guys go check this out, okay? And this is not me sending you to her video to dogpile her or attack her. I'm curious about something. So when I saw this video 9 hours ago, and this has got 36 likes, 80 dislikes. When I saw this video 9 hours ago, and I watched it and listened to the entire first few minutes of it, where she talked about reactionaries, I commented and said, "Hi, Alyssa, reactionary here," right? Now, I don't know that anybody thinks that was a funny response or worth liking, right? But I look at all these responses, and people are giving her shit and stuff, and it's funny. But every one of these responses has at least a few likes on it. So now I'm wondering if my comments are also getting hidden on YouTube. Like if the shit that I'm saying in comments on other people's videos is even getting seen. I don't know. I feel like YouTube's screwing with me these days. You don't want to help boost your channel. I can understand that. Be sensitive and pretend like you like it, but that doesn't help the child long term. Well, but that's what I'm saying. There's an age. There is an age where it's appropriate to start correcting your child's behavior. And I'm not saying that you need to be harsh when your child does something that they've tried something and they didn't succeed at it. I'm saying you need to be willing to be truthful with your child and help them correct their behavior, help them, again, be better, obviously, when it comes to whatever it is that they're working on, so they don't continue to make a subpar product or subpar cake or whatever it is they're doing. Yeah, Mari, those are, I mean, that's more in line with the way I was raised. My mom, so I was born in 86, and despite having a weird education, because we were always like homeschool, private school, public school, moving a lot. My parents were self-employed, so we were always moving in and out of schools. I was still expected to be an A student, and 99% of the time I got A's in school. And so that was just that expectation, right? Oh, I'd have to go incognito. I could try that later on. Curious what the comments say. You've got one that says, at 4 minutes and 4 seconds, there's no women in it. Did you even play the game, or are you just pre-programmed with these talking points? Sorry, but this video is not diverse, progressive, and inclusive enough for me to leave a like. At 2:18, as a professional, you should allege there's no legal evidence of the claims. In fact, there are valid claims of mistranslation and biased reporting. I just want characters, both male and female, that look nice in games. Again, there's one comment that she left a heart on. Everything else is criticizing her. And again, from what I'm seeing, there's no threats, there's no violent rhetoric, there's nothing even hateful. It's just straight up people calling her out on her bullcrap. So much for that, you know, strategy where she's like, oh, people are threatening me. Well, there's no threats there at all. I mean, Tekla, it wasn't worth me going through and be like, oh, nobody replied to my comment, I need to go leave another one. I was just curious, because, like, usually, if you leave a comment on something like that that's got people who are just kind of like, you know, pissing around and just having a good time, you'll see somebody acknowledge your comment. So for me, I was like, God, how buried am I getting on YouTube? Are people even seeing my replies? Like, I don't know. So the reason Alyssa has even been coming up recently, before this whole thing, was this Gaming While Black announcement promo that was going all over Twitter, right? You think she's just lying? I mean, I think she is. I don't think Alyssa honestly has an opinion. I think she is... Oh, try to edit the comments, see if YouTube hit it. I could try that. Let me see here. Did I already close the video? No, here we are. No, it doesn't look like it's been hidden. Maybe the comment just sucked, and that does happen too, guys. Sometimes I'm not as funny as I think I am. Oh, there's a blow to my ego. Yo, NS, yeah, we gotta pick a title that's not already taken, dude. You can't use one that's already been taken. Nice effort, my guy. I appreciate that, though. So, Black Sparrow Media. Why is it... Okay. I'm a white guy. How many white guys we got in the chat? We got a few white guys here? Oh, edit and hit enter. Okay. We'll do this real quick just for... I'll take off the period. I'm male. I'm no longer female. We took off the period. It just says edited. I don't know if that means hidden or not. I don't know. I leave comments on YouTube once in a while, and then I move on with my day. All right, Austin, no worries. Oh, they use the chocolate in Japan, just like the Mexicans do. You're black, Zev? All right. We got one black guy in the chat. Sweet. 1/8 white. Okay. We got a few white people then. That is true, Tekla. I understand that. It's about beating the algorithm. Luigi's Mexican. Okay, so we got some diversity here. So I've noticed this a lot with a lot of these black content creators, black people in general that are like the influencers on Twitter, who are the ones that are obsessed with race. It's not about black people. It's about the black grifters. We need to use the term that they throw around, the grifters. And they always have to use the word black because that's their defining characteristic. You don't see this with people where it's like, yeah, maybe you'll see it once time with like Mexican or something, like you know, other ethnicities. But if I was to put before every username I've ever had, the white this, the white that, I'd probably get flagged for racism, right? So there's a social media influencer who goes by the Black Viking. I'm like, first of all, Vikings aren't black. So cultural appropriation much, right? But then we have Black Sparrow Media. Why is it Black Sparrow Media? Because they're black. I don't get it. I don't understand. Why do we have to reduce everything down to race? Like, This is the problem. They're hyper focusing on stuff. You identify as albino tan? Brandon McDory agreed. Yeah, I mean, I don't get it. It's like, why is that just the thing that they always have to approach it with? Like, can't we just stand on our own merit, right? That's the entire thing. Let me see. You're white adjacent to woke logic Asian here. Oh, okay. Well, I assume that there's a fairly large percentage of my audience who's white, just based on the fact that that's a video games and YouTube, it tends to go that way. But again, just like Alyssa thinks that, you know, everybody who doesn't agree with her is a white guy, YouTube is incredibly diverse too. There's a lot of natural diversity that happens. Look, our Discord server, I was telling my wife this a while back, our Discord server has got somebody from Ukraine, somebody from India, we got people in Germany, we got people in Japan, we got people in Canada. I've got people all over in our Discord server, okay? And we all get along. We all talk about stuff. We all share opinions and ideas. It's great, you know? The white Black Panther. That's what I'm saying, though. If I had to put the word white before everything, people would look at me and go, man, you're really obsessed with being white, aren't you? And that's the thing is I'm not. So it wouldn't make any sense. Don't check my Twitter, guys. Black Vikings, the equivalent to the white Zulu. Yeah, it didn't ever happen. Anyways, so this is Gaming While Black. This is a 5-minute promo. I saw the minute and a half of it on Twitter. I have not watched the 5-minute thing. Let me make sure we're still set to 1.25. Just so we can get through this a little bit faster. Trigger warning, Alyssa Mercante is in here. And there's a great clip, which is eventually going to work its way into my intro, where she says, don't buy our games. Also, very strange that she went and visited Compulsion Games last year. And in this clip, she mentions how our studio. So I think Alyssa is really angling to get a job at a game consulting company. Would you call your document black while shopping? Actually, white adopted member related to the Black Panther. He's actually a hero too. Really? I don't know. I'm not familiar with all that. Egalitarian, their perspective is horrendous. Just a justification for them to be racist. Yeah. All right. So here is the Gaming While Black promo. Ooh, that sounds really loud.
World premiere.
Yeah, maybe just how to move forward. Maybe stick with what Molly said.
Okay.
Yeah, I think she was right. I think she made it even simpler.
Some of the roadblocks we see today is a bunch of white people telling me what to say on camera.
No.
See, that's funny, though. That there's funny. Like, okay, this is the kind of shit that if we actually could have these kind of jokes, I'd be down for that. You know? Am I crazy? I thought that was funny just now.
Collaboration.
Some of the topics of this time.
Give me just a second.
Okay.
Bunch of white people telling me what to say. Okay, I'm good. Nope, I'm good.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, touche.
Watching High Speed. I think YouTube did censor your Alyssa comment. Oh, no, it didn't.
I've always played video games growing up, and it's always been, I feel like, an afterthought to include people of color, whether it's in the game development, in game representation. I am always happy when I do see it. It's just something.
This is an old, tired argument that I know some people might feel differently about, but here's the thing. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, this has become a talking point for a lot of people about how, well, there's never been enough black people. You can go back 30, 40 years and there were black people,
Sometimes it comes off as
people of
pandering
other
in a way.
races, in movies, entertainment, games, comics. Sure, we've had social strife and we've had the civil rights movement. You had the slavery issues beforehand. They're all parts of American history. But up until the last 20, 30 years with mass migration, massive amounts of people. I mean, yeah, you had early 1900s, you had a lot of immigration from China and Ireland and stuff. But mass migration, changing the cultural landscape of the United States, has really only been a thing for like the last 40, 50 years, really. And if you think about it this way, the majority of people in entertainment were white because the majority of the audience was white. That doesn't mean that you exclude black people entirely or that you don't have black people in movies or music or video games, which they were in all of those. But the problem that we're seeing with this DEI push is that you're getting commercials, for example, commercials on TV are 90% mixed race couples and 10% white couples. So that's not representation. That is, you know, that's again this DEI push where you no longer have an active, actual representation of the demographics of the United States. It's this forced diversity where we haven't seen ourselves enough on TV. So now we have to have mostly black people in commercials. No. Why don't we just have, if you want to have cast whoever for a commercial, that's fine. But why do you have a diversity initiative to see more black people or more minorities in commercials or in movies? It's again, it's artificially inflating the numbers when it doesn't reflect actual representation in society. When the reality of most societies, I think America is still like, what, 60% white? And yet 60% of people in commercials on TV are not white couples or white people. So again, if the entire point is to have representation and do it authentically, we're not seeing authentic representation. And then they go back to the same argument of, oh, well, there weren't enough black people in movies. Okay, but how do you fix, if that is your argument, how do you fix two rights or two wrongs? How do you make a right out of two wrongs? You know what I'm saying? They've never been to Call of Duty lobby? Yeah. Planned Parenthood? Yeah. Well, unfortunately, NS, white people aren't having babies. I did my part. I had 3 kids, you know?
That you don't often talk about as much. There's a few good examples out there that we definitely want to highlight with this documentary. And there's definitely some examples of things that we feel like could be maybe done better. But that's what we're here to talk about.
And just to talk about the elephant in the room, yeah, I am a white guy making a documentary called Gaming While Black. But I think that comes from the place of us needing to just sit back and listen. It's not my job.
Oh, God. And the self-hating white people. I can't get it. Dude, I'm so sick and tired of this. You saw one ad on YouTube recently, one family with all races promoting healthy tables. Like, how did that happen? Well, okay, so mixed race couples are a thing. But what you, like, I just saw this last night. We were watching my wife has been watching the old show Lost. She's been going through like all the old episodes of it. And we saw 2 commercials in a row where it was either like mixed race couples or mixed race families. And it's like, just show me 2 black people. Like, I don't need mixed race. If you're going to have a more authentic representation of society, take a black couple or an Asian couple or a white couple. Like, I don't understand it. It's this weird society that they're trying to create, you know? And in Poland... Yeah, Poland is like 99% white. That's exactly what I'm talking about. It doesn't mean that you have to ostracize black people that do exist in Poland, but your society is 99% white. They were saying no women were in the game too. Yeah, exactly. They're trying to create this fake-ass picture of equality. Yes, 100%.
Job to talk and tell you how to think. It's my job to help ask questions that maybe you're too afraid to ask or you don't know how to bring those conversations forward. But the most important thing is focusing on the black creators that we'll be interviewing and really what they have to say.
Yeah. Some of the topics of this documentary.
Can you say cuck? I mean, we're allowed to say cuck on YouTube, right? Holy crap. Is that I want to live in the woods, dude? I don't know. Is he? White dad, black mom, Hispanic and Asian kids. Yeah, it's not even realistic. It's not even realistic. Wow, Hook just got censored. Why are blacks in Poland? I mean, I can't speak for black people since I'm white, but if I were myself just with darker skin, and I'd consider moving to Poland. I've often talked about wanting to go visit Poland. Maybe even live there. Because, I mean, I don't know. I like a lot of their views on a lot of shit, so...
are going to cover the origins of gaming within the black community, some roadblocks that we see today, and how we can move forward in the future. It's a story I would have always loved to have told had I thought that there was an audience to listen to it, which, due to my own self-doubts or things that hold me back, I kind of thought that this was a topic that people other than myself and other people that look like me wouldn't have really been interested in.
We're not. No, nobody's interested in this. Oh boy. Can't even have a country? Pretty much. Hey, Kira, Poland's traditional life and one of the fastest growing GDPs in Europe. Yeah. No, in Hook, it's not just that they're trying to erase the history in general. It's not just about like being allowed to preserve what you have anymore. Now it's like you have to apologize for what you have. Thought I had this brought up somewhere. Oh, let's just finish the promo video.
And one day Aaron brought it up to me, and we kind of had a long conversation about it, and came to the conclusion that this was a topic that could help a lot of people, not just people that look the way I did.
Why we picked the gaming community specifically is we both came together through our love of video games.
Okay. These people, I swear to God, they don't play video games. If they do, they don't spend any time online. Okay? The first time, a couple years ago, that I got called the N-word on Apex Legends was by a black man. We had, and he was like going off on me. I eventually muted him. Black guy calling me a white guy the N-word, right? We had this kid that was part of our group that played Apex together, and we had to constantly mute him because he'd start dropping the N-word over and over and over again. And it's like, but these guys want to act like black people are so fragile and frail that they don't really play video games online, or they're afraid to play video games online or play with white people because they're worried about getting it targeted. These are not real people. They don't live in the real world. You want to know who the real grifters are? These guys. These guys are the real grifters. Yeah, they got to go with the skin disease thing, which is so stupid. Okay, I have family. I don't want to go into detail. NS has been telling me not to, dox myself, and I appreciate him being like, dude, less personal information. I have family that has a skin condition called, there's two different conditions. It's a port wine stain. And the condition is called Klippel-Trenaunay syndrome, which is an overgrowth where one body part gets a little bit larger. So you usually see it in conjunction with a port wine stain, which is basically it's a bundle or a bunch of blood vessels towards the surface of the skin that gives it red pigmentation, right? So it could be on your arm, your legs, your eyes, your face, whatever. So I've got a family member that has this. And this family member has no problem going through life not seeing themselves represented in media, video games, TV, whatever. Doesn't need a whole bunch of people running around video games with red arms or red legs or red patches of skin all over their face. This whole concept that you have to have the vitiligo people or more diversity in games to make black people feel included, I'm sorry, I don't buy it. I don't buy it at all. Port wine's just a customization? Well, yeah, but in real life you can't take it off,
I don't consider this my story to tell at all. I'm really just here to help curate the conversation and bring up the questions that I think a lot of people are too afraid to ask.
And so what we want to do with this documentary is highlight the creators and the people in this space that are already doing the work that we need to be done.
Doing the work, everybody. Doing the work.
Get their voices heard more, find ways to hear other voices that may not have been heard yet, and talk about what's in the future. Where do we go from here?
I think what's most exciting is we want to cover a variety of spaces, not just in video game development and talent, but also in the streaming world. How can we lift up more of those voices and showcase those creators and their talents and the voice that they have and the thoughts they can bring to the table?
Yeah.
Yes, and that's very, very wholesome. All right, so there's not really anything more substantial to watch from this. However, they must have their video that they dropped on YouTube. Yes, here we go. The promo trailer, everybody. Here's where Alyssa Mercante is featured.
The best ideas come out of not being the same.
They're just like little breadcrumbs along the way of like, oh, wait a minute, there's me in here somewhere. You want people to just recognize that this is important without.
There's me in there somewhere. Not to mention, what is going on his shirt? Can I zoom in on a video if it's full screen? No, you can't. I'm a boomer. I'm sorry, guys. I'm so stupid. You guys all seeing this race-swapped fat Wonder Woman on his shirt? Do you see that? I don't know who KCO is, though. You thought you were tweaking on the left ear? What's with the left ear? Yeah, but it's not just a black Wonder Woman. It's a fat black Wonder Woman. You guys look at the size of these hips here, and I like thick. Okay, I'm a fan of thick, but this is an obese woman. She's got a big stomach and a big fat ass. So, oh my god. Now the skin is pale on the shirt. But you can tell the styling, the face, she's meant to look black. Yeah.
The extra gasoline on the fire.
I want to see more creators that look like me.
There's been a lot of examples of representation of black people in games that...
Oh yeah, this gal. I've got beef with her.
Of representation of black people in games that have rubbed me the wrong way.
So she's been rubbed the wrong way. She's been rubbed the wrong way. This is Rihanna Pena, Danny Pena's wife. Danny Pena, legendary Hall of Fame podcaster. He and her started a consulting company where she's got all of her years of experience in diversity, equity, and inclusion, trying to tell people how to make their video games better, how to consult with you on essentially how to make your game more palatable, more progressive, just better all the way around. Again, their consulting company has to do with like growing a channel or social media marketing, all this kind of crap. These are the two people, her and her husband, that sent a privacy complaint to YouTube for my video talking about them after 2 hours of the video being live, okay? She is in this video about gaming while black. She has worked on 6 games. 6 games, and never once as a writer or as a developer. She has been part of like a marketing campaign. She has done things for like Ori and the Will of the Wisps, where I think she did like marketing for an event for them or something, but she's credited on the game, okay? Does she play games? She says she plays games. Yes, she says she plays games. But she's part of this Black Wall Gaming or Gaming While Black documentary.
The moment I heard like, oh, we don't want to help you because we don't know that many black folks, I was like, okay, fine, I'll do it myself.
I gotta slow the speed down. That's just way too high. Let me turn it back to 125. What this guy says right here irritates the crap out of me. Okay? This infuriates me.
The moment I heard like, oh, we don't want to help you because we don't know that many black folks.
We don't want to help you because we don't know that many black folks. What does that even mean? What does that even mean? Podcast seems sane. No idea beyond that. The dude, I don't know if his podcast is still going or not. All I know is he's considered to be like this massive force in the industry, and nobody that I've ever talked to has any idea who the guy is. I say Danny Pena, and they're like, who? I'm like, well, he's like the big dog out there. He's like, you know, like Greg Miller from Kind of Funny or whatever the hell that podcast is called. Here you go.
Just because, like, I happen to be black doesn't mean, like, you have to show, like, black things. Like, oh, like, he listens to rap, he likes basketball. Like, I grew up playing baseball. I love hockey. I'm Canadian. Just make the person great who just happens to be black.
So again, I don't understand how they're going to have this in this trailer where this guy is legitimately saying what we're saying, where stop focusing on race, sexuality, orientation, and everything else, and just make a good character, make a good game. That's what we want. But that's not the way this is going to be interpreted. Press X to doubt, yeah.
Sometimes to write for black voices, you need a black voice behind it.
We stand with.
Okay. This is something when I did my video talking about this that I really picked up on, and you guys need to listen. You need to listen to this with Alyssa. Going back to the other video that we just watched of hers from her live stream, I'm telling you, we're going to find out in the next few months here that she's either working at Compulsion Studios in Montreal with Montreal for a development company like a narrative design company or something. Because listen, I'm going to put this back on the regular speed. Because she does her little Frost moment here again saying if you don't like it, don't buy it. But she says our studio, okay? Our studio.
We stand with the people who work at our studio. We stand with a more diverse industry. We support.
Who's she talking about? We stand with the people who work at our studio. Who is we? What is our studio?
Support the concept of a more diverse industry, telling more diverse stories. There's plenty of games out there for you to buy. If you don't like this, don't buy it.
If you don't like this, don't buy it. So we'll find out when the documentary comes out what they're talking about. Like, she's talking about a specific game. Then they go to Khalif Adams, who was with her up in Montreal, meeting with the guys over at Compulsion. So I'm telling you guys, I think that this is her admitting, whether she meant to or not, that she's probably working as a consultant now.
I want them to understand that, like, this is for you, like, in a real way.
Yeah, so that's Gaming While Black. And of course, Khalif Adams, actual grifter. The man had to go online after talking about how great Dark Dragon Age Veilguard. God, I can't remember that freaking game's name. It feels like a century ago now. Talk about how great it was, begging for a freaking key, and he got a key for free to play the game. Okay? Studio's in her house. What is with the moo thing? Can someone explain that to me? What is the whole you found your moo thing? Seen people my age talk like black, but it's their accent. I've seen people that's black not talking like stereotypes of black people. Dragon gaze fail hard. See, I got good calling it fail guard, but that's a good one too. Dragon. Old Man Grimm, he clipped this. I saw Atreus also did it, and now I have it downloaded on my phone. So anytime that people want to talk about, you know, if you don't like my product, don't buy it or whatever. You got this clip of her saying this.
There's plenty of games out there for you to buy. If you don't like this, don't buy it.
Again, that's going to go back to haunt her and anybody she works with. Atreus meme. Flop guard. Yeah, I don't understand the moo thing, guys. I'm sorry. I don't get it. I've seen people do that, like you found your moo. It must be a meme that I don't understand. So I saw this also, something that Khalif Adams was tagged in correlation to this gaming while black, voices while gaming, of power of black voices in gaming at Afrotech, a conference from last year. What it is, I have no idea. I haven't clicked on it until just now. It says Afrotech. Let me see. Let's see. Is there an about? There's not an about. Events. Anyways, the article says how Xbox showcased the power of black voices in gaming at Afrotech Conference 2024. Being black is not a monolith, which is why the culture's approach to gaming is not something that is one size fits all. Can you guys imagine? Okay. So Alyssa Mercante, we'll just use her as an example, famously has a tweet that people have screenshotted and put on like shirts and stuff where she says, you can't be racist to white people. And that right there is the crux of the problem, because they believe that racism is only based on power structures, right? Therefore, since white people have had the power for so long, you can't truly be racist to people who are the people in power. Because if that wasn't their logic, then how else do you justify this incessant obsession with everything being black while this, black while driving, black while gaming, black while walking, black while chewing bubblegum? Like, it's complete race obsession. And if you didn't think that you can't be black as a black, or racist as a black person, then you wouldn't be doing all this crap as a black person where it's focused solely on being black. Okay, so they focus on this. Yeah, dude, Microsoft is cooked. I'm sorry. I'm so over Microsoft at this point. Which is sad, because I was an Xbox guy for a long time. My computers are Microsoft. But I'm just so over Microsoft. Yeah, well, don't be scared for the future of games. It's just, you bet if some of you switch to all chat, you'll be surprised by the number of new messages you see. Non-binary, exactly. Yeah, Brandon, I feel you, dude. I mean, it sucks because for somebody with kids, Game Pass is such a good deal. I get it for less than $10 a month. I've got it for my PC. I have it for my kids' PC. I have it for their Xbox. It gives us the ability to play a whole bunch of games for less than $10 a month. So $100 a year, if you will, or less, so around $100 a year, and you get the whole library of games to play. And you also get EA games. You get a whole bunch of other games. And of course, EA sucks. I get that. But there's other games that are available. But it's like, you're not owning the games anyways. And half the games suck. And then they're going to put this crap. I mean, South of Midnight is going to be a Game Pass Day 1 exclusive. So it's like, why would I even care at this point? It's going to be a few years, Lucia. It's really going to be a few years. Hey, Oblivion, I just got to figure it out, dude. The next computer I build, after I fix my kid's build, I'm thinking Linux. I know it's a lot more work because Linux is kind of like a la carte, right? You cannot send it here. Oh, I appreciate you trying to be careful what you say. Oh, God, dude. You know Discord is probably watching the things you say, right? Even in DMs. Just saying. They're probably watching. But here's the best part, guys. I'm going to refresh it just to be charitable. Okay, so the Gaming While Black documentary has a donation of $5,000. It has 5 donations as of 2 days ago. The first donation of $200 was anonymous, okay? And it says, story. While the working title of the documentary is GWB, Gaming While Black, the sentiment behind that is meant to convey how being black or African American in the gaming space can often feel like existing within an opposing community. So, do these guys never think for a second? Hey, Zav, you heard me bitching about Streamlabs, dude. As soon as I have time, we are moving away from Streamlabs completely. I'm beyond sick and tired of Streamlabs crapping out on me. I just don't have time to switch everything right now. But I hear you, dude. I got you. But they want to be like, black people are existing in the gaming space within an opposing community. It's like, who's opposing them? You guys are the ones fixating on race. I don't understand how they're this, like, are their heads really that far up their asses? An introspective of the gaming community as a whole while examining how it handles black and African American voices. Due to the bright pop culture nature that is inherent to video games, the visual elements may be fun and kinetic, allowing the viewer to have fun with the film while also digesting larger social issues and commentary. Oh, basically, we're going to put a bunch of colorful shit on the screen to distract you from the fact that we're having a really boring lecture going on in the background. But if you just keep watching the screen, it's going to be fun and colorful. Trust me, it's going to be really bright and pretty. The purpose, above all else, the purpose of this film is to elevate black voices that are already doing the work to create a more inclusive space. You're pushing the DEI grifting consultants and the people like Khalif Adams, who just are saying, hey, Scuff Gaming, send me more free controllers, please. Thank you. This documentary will educate and entertain the large population of gamers with a bigger impact on the developers and companies that create these games. Ah, yes, those who are getting their grips, their little palms and sweaty fingers on the gaming industry as a whole. Yes. The vision of the documentary requires in-person interviews rather than video calls. With that in mind, occasional travel may be necessary. So this is basically so they can pay to fly themselves around, stay in hotels and whatnot. They're going to have the host, Jamal, a camera operator, an assistant director, and one producer. Pay me $5,000. I'll go film this thing for myself. I'll do all 4 of those jobs. I'll be the host, camera operator, assistant director, and producer. I'll take my kid's GoPro and I'll go do the whole thing myself. Lasting impact of this documentary isn't intended to be... Okay, spell check. Can we get a spell check on aisle 12? The lasting impact of this documentary isn't intended, where are we at here, to be accuse, offend, or cause division between others. The message of this film will amplify voices doing the already needed work. It will inspire others to do the same, and it will highlight how doing so is beneficial for everyone. You also don't need a comma right there. It will highlight how doing so is beneficial for everyone. That's one thought. You don't need a break in your thoughts there. How about this? Let's stop saying that education is racist and raise our standard of education in this country so we have less of these kind of spelling issues. We hope this film can bring change to the larger video game community as a whole. If executed correctly, this film could very much change the culture of video games and the companies that create them. Wow. With assistance from marketing, film festivals, and additional producers, we believe the film can receive distribution on larger platforms or streaming services such as Max, Netflix, and even... Oh, please let this go on Netflix, please. I want Alyssa Mercante on Netflix complaining about a harassment campaign. Oh my God, please. Please. You had to look up command prompt tutorials. Yeah, I'm worried about the whole Linux thing, not really, like, understanding it, you know? As a gamer who's black and has never heard of this shit, we just play. Right, Salsa? That's what I'm saying. Imagine if it was anybody else. I mean, you'll see, like the ethnic, like as far as like ethnicities go, you'll see sometimes like the Mexican culture where they feel like they need to be represented more and this and that. Like you'll see like different ethnic groups have their own moment, like their Hispanic Heritage Month, that kind of stuff, right? But imagine if it was like Polish wall gaming, or gaming wall Italian, gaming wall German. Oh, gaming wall German. That would get banned on YouTube right away. There's no way you could have gaming wall German. You'd have so many red flags that would be raised right away. It's like, holy shit, there's just no way. Oh man, okay. So I think we'll get wrapped up here in a minute. There's one more thing to cover that I think is really pertinent, given the level of like Alyssa Mercante calling Black Myth Wukong a gooner game. Like, of all the games, really, she could have gone after she could have gone after First Descendant, because really, First Descendant, in my opinion, is the game that people on the anti-woke side of things kind of like held up as like, this game's amazing, and I'm like, yeah, it's really not great. Warframe's better. But no, she could have gone after Stellar Blade, you know? 9 out of 10. Jawohl, mein Herr. Gaming as Yiddish. Gaming while Japanese. Gaming while Samurai. Gaming while Black Samurai. No, Stellar Blade, guys. A game that I've not played yet, and I know. Y'all give me crap about it. I don't have a PlayStation. I'm not buying a PlayStation. We are now a computer family. I'm working on my 3rd computer build in this house. Yes, we have an Xbox. We have a Nintendo. But I'm going to get it on PC when it's on PC. I'm not buying a freaking PlayStation, okay? Mexican Heritage Munch... Dude, for me, as a white guy, I think it's all kind of cringe. I'm like, if you're happy about your own culture, that's fine, but I'm first and foremost an American. And so for me personally, I get really bothered by people who are so racially obsessed that the first thing they see is their skin color, not their nationality. It's like, the big problem we have is the lie. Like we started off talking about Elon Musk and this immigration thing. My biggest issue with this entire immigration argument, especially the H-1B visas, these are not people who view themselves as going to America to become American citizens, to live the American dream, and to raise their kids as Americans. You're talking about people who go, America is the land of opportunity, and I'm going to take the opportunity, but retain all of my culture, retain all of my heritage, and not embrace this country as my own, and then I'm going to take that money and send it back to my homeland. I don't want that. You know, I want everybody who wants to be an American, whether they're here already or a future citizen, to want to be an American first, you know? But yeah, Gooner. Games where people just want to, like, get off to them, you know? Stellar Blade is coming to PC, yes, it is. I don't know how Black Myth Wukong is a Gooner game. That's just what Alyssa Mercante said. That's why I said she could have picked a much better example. So Stellar Blade is the game that if she wanted to go after, she could have. I don't necessarily think it is a Gooner game, but she could have gone after it, right? However, they have had such a banger year that they gave, let me see if I have the article. They gave their whole staff, all their staff, a $3.4 thousand bonus at the end of the year plus a PS5 Pro. Okay, that's like a what? $4,300. PS5 Pro is what, 700 or 9? I think it's 700. So a $4.1 thousand bonus at the end of the year. Yeah, and here's the thing. People who come as tourists, people who come as temporary citizens, that's fine. If you don't identify as an American, if you're not becoming a citizen, I get it. But at some point, it's like shit or get off the pot. If you're going to live in America as an American, or at least among Americans for years and years and years, benefiting off the American system, at some point, you either need to make the step and become an American, or admit that you have no interest in assimilating. And so many people refuse to assimilate, you know? Oh, Mari, don't look up gooning. Oh, I don't want your innocent mind broken. Okay, well, we talked about simping earlier. Simping being men lusting after women in a pathetic way, where the woman has no interest in the guy, but he'll give her money and attention because he gets some sort of validation out of it, where he thinks that she cares about him because he's trying so hard to impress her. Whereas gooning is just guys being horny or, you know, basically getting off, if you will, on a video game or a character or whatever. There's many ways you could go about describing it, but for me personally, it's just the guys who have to have like nonstop feed of naked or half naked things in front of their face. Everyone's gonna have a different opinion, I think, though. A goon is a thug. Yeah, thugs begin the whole different definition of goon there. So anyways, the funny thing is this article from VG247, because again, this is another one of these places that's owned by another company that hates gamers. says Stellar Blade might not be everyone's cup of tea, but when all the staff gets a PS5 Pro and $3.4 thousand as an end-of-year bonus after a year full of layoffs, you can't help but cut it a bit of slack. Only a little bit of slack, though. Okay? Goes on this article, talk about how, oh, it's not to everyone's taste, and of course, I'm sure this author of this article probably has very not fond opinions of this game. I wonder if we could go through her articles here. I don't have time for this shit. I'm too tired. Yeah, so you see that they did this big event. They have all these PS5s stacked up here. I mean, imagine working for this company, okay? Imagine working for Shift Up in the current climate. Handing out all these PS5s. They got characters in costumes here. You can see they got somebody dressed up as Eve. I mean, that's pretty freaking cool. Rather than an internet phrase, that's a good point. Yeah, and that's the other thing, Kira. People who actually want to respect the culture that they're living in, even if you're not planning on becoming a citizen, if you can just I don't want to say, like, you know, go undercover and, you know, I'm too tired. The word is escaping me. My dog was itching all last night. We're trying to get him taken care of. He's got fleas, and we've been dealing with the flea issue for like weeks now, and I think we've got it under control now, but he was scratching all night. I got no sleep. Yeah, we need some big change. There's no question there. But yeah, I mean, just think about it. In the current AAA video game industry, this is a game that's been crapped on by the media. You've got, you know, studios shutting down left and right, mass layoffs. I think it's like 15,000 people in 2024 lost their jobs in the video game industry. And these guys, they raked in so much money. They got their big ass, you know, hotel or wherever this building is. They're handing out all these PS5s and stuff. It's so cool. So freaking cool. Oh, the Eve does look cool, doesn't it? I wish there was a better picture of it, but that's a great outfit. That's a great costume. Oh yeah, no, it's not pleasant. And of course, because he has fleas, the cats have fleas, and they just give them back and forth. And I've been dealing with it off and on for like the last 6 months. And we've flea bombed. We clean our carpets religiously. It's just, I deal with neighbors who don't care. And so they drag all sorts of shit in, and I have to deal with it. I cannot wait. We have a 6-month lease, and we're getting the hell out of here. We're going to have to find somewhere else at some point. Honestly, don't get this idea. It's just that's just because someone looks like me that I'd have to think. Yeah, exactly. They know how to do things in Korea. It certainly seems that way, doesn't it? I want to watch this video real quick. Hang on. Since we're on this topic anyways, Asmongold had this clip that went viral. I was going to do a video about this last night. I was so tired, I just didn't have the energy. Apparently, this is from a journalist from a year ago, talking about how Valve, the company that owns Steam, was too white. Okay, this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. We have, on one hand, you've got Gaming While Black and all these diversity initiatives, and you've got all this other crap, right? And then you've got Valve is in trouble because they're too white. So check this out, guys. We're going to end off with this.
Valve has a diversity crisis. Uh-oh.
I can't tell you how many women work at Valve, or people of color, or non-binary folks.
So guys, something YouTube probably won't like me saying. Hey, Gravel Dragon, how's it going over there on Rumble? Something YouTube probably won't like is the fact that physiognomy is a real thing. If you don't know what that is, I'll try to give my uneducated description of it. Basically, if you have somebody who's like a creepy weirdo perv, or somebody who's like a mass murderer, and they look creepy, they just are. It tends to be for a reason. Oh, you got your internet back. That's a massive W. You didn't watch it either? I didn't have much time the last couple of days. Like I said, this whole moving furniture around, trying to declutter. Hey, don't bite the flea collar. Boy cat's trying to get freaky with the girl cat, and they're both in flea collars and they're both fixed. And they're brother and sister, for God's sake. Like, knock it off. But yeah, physiognomy is a very real thing. This guy looks like somebody that no woman should ever want to be around. Isn't Valve a client of Sweet Baby Inc? They were listed on their website before they hit all their clients.
Those who identify as LGBTQ or disabled people, because, well, Valve is a private company and it doesn't need to disclose those numbers, and also it didn't respond to our own requests for those figures. However,
why would they? I mean, if somebody's asking for those figures, they're only doing it in order to create a narrative that you're doing something wrong. Like, how could there ever be a single positive to sharing that information?
Multiple
again, Asmongold, spot on there, because like I talked about, when people like Rebecca Valentine, somebody, Alyssa Mercante, obviously looks up to as a journalist, and she's like, oh, she put so many words into her articles. She does great work. Look at how many words she did. Yeah, she had a lot of words because she embellished on stories that she only got from one side of the aisle and didn't actually talk to everybody and get everyone's opinion on it, to the point where afterwards they had to put it in an editor's note with the response from somebody saying, we didn't observe any of this, and none of this stuff that's in the article is stuff that we saw or had to deal with personally. So it's like, these guys are not trustworthy. They're just not. So there's no point even talking to them. Nobody in their right mind should talk to anybody from any of these media outlets, especially if they look like this guy right here.
Interviewees that we spoke to described the company as having an enormous lack of diversity, extremely white and extremely male. There have been efforts made over the years by various employees who've pushed to make Valve more representative. However, I'm told these efforts are largely blocked by either the company's structure or its leadership.
If that effort was being blocked and there's an effort to hire a person that was black and it was being blocked by the nature of the fact that the person was black, Valve would be in a massive discrimination lawsuit and they would have to pay out millions, if not billions of dollars. Yeah, it's just that simple.
It used to be that.
Yeah, honest to God, trying to make it about how they don't have enough black people or white people or non-binary people or whatever. In this day and age, this is the stuff the media eats up. So the media goes, okay, well, Valve wouldn't give us these numbers. Okay, but are you hearing from anybody who's saying they wouldn't hire me because I was black? No, you're never going to hear that because it doesn't happen. Okay, first off, so many companies, I don't know where Valve is based out of, right? But my state of Washington, for example, is an at-will state. They can fire you for any reason, but they can't say, I fired you because you were black, or fired you because you were gay, fired you because you were Muslim. They have to say, I fired you because your work sucked. That's a good enough reason. You know, you can fire somebody for that reason, as long as they're not in a union, obviously. And then there's a whole different set of rules and all that. But in the same way, you don't have to hire anybody for any reason you want. You just have to make sure that if it's something discriminatory, that you don't say what it is. You can say, I didn't think they would be a good fit, you know? Oh, we're Valve HQ over here. Well, that makes sense. We are like, it's so funny. Dude, 20 years ago, because I lived here most of my life. I'm a California transplant. So been up here for more than 30 years. And when I first moved up here, I was amazed at how much industry is in this state. Not just, oh, logging and it's Washington. You got wolves and trees and shit up there. No, we're like one of the freaking like tech capitals of the world. Costco is from Washington. Boeing is from Washington. Microsoft from Washington. Like, we are a massive, massive, like, urban state. And yet 30 years ago, Washington was treated, 40 years ago, was treated like it was like living in the great Northwest. There's nothing up there, just trees and rain, you know? Oh, they're in Redmond. Okay. I didn't know that. Should drive over there and say hi to them. There was an EEOC complaint. You'd have to look into it. I'll be curious. Oh yeah, Bellevue. Bellevue and Redmond are not too far from each other.
That there were maybe 10,
I think maybe 20 minutes.
15% women in the development teams, but definitely now I think they
Starbucks
dipped below that point.
Well, you've created an arbitrary criteria point, and then you've said you have to meet this criteria point. Who decided that? You did. You don't work at Valve. You're not in charge of them. What is this? Valve?
California transplant sounds like an Urban Dictionary definition. That's so disgusting. It ruins your day. So funny thing is that back when my family moved up here, because, you know, it was right around 1990s. But like I said, I've been here for like 34 years now, something like that. There were a lot of Californians that moved out of California and moved up to Washington, and Washingtonians hate the Californians. They hated them. And it was just something you didn't talk about being from California if you were from there and lived here now. Nobody cares anymore, obviously. People move so much more nowadays than they did 30, 40 years ago.
Valve's estimated profit per employee is around $19 million, making it one of the highest per employee profit figures among major tech companies. What they're doing works, and
Oh,
it
yeah.
outperforms
Washington's full of
all
DEI
other people
issues.
that are in the space, hired on merit. Yeah, you always hire on merit. If you're not hiring on merit, you're setting yourself up to fail.
The higher up you go, the whiter and male it becomes.
The implication here is that being white is somehow a problem. If you replace the word of the people that you are trying to replace with the word of people that you think are protected, would your statement be bad? And if the answer is yes, then your statement is not theoretically bad, it is just simply bad.
And see, that's what I'm talking about with all of this stuff, with this gaming wall black. If you switch it or swap it to gaming wall German, gaming wall white, gaming wall Caucasian, gaming wall Christian, gaming wall Republican, gaming wall MAGA. And now you're going to get more inflammatory, right? The further right wing you go, gaming wall alt-right, gaming wall Groyper. You could go like really far off the deep end. And if those are all bad or sound bad, then how is it better to have gaming wall black, right?
Compounds the issue, because part of making any field more diverse is that you have to start introducing diversity into it. Valve's not going to be...
Well, I don't think that I feel like the entire premise of this is that it's a problem or that it's necessary. I don't think diversity is something that is a good or a bad thing. Having more diversity doesn't make something better, and it doesn't make it worse either. It's just simply a collection of people.
Well, see, this is where Asman is more of a, I'd say, mainstream moderate than I am. I don't have a problem with diversity in the sense of different skin colors. I don't. I truly don't care. I have a problem with diversity when it comes to cultural mindsets and cultural norms and morals and ethics. So, do I think diversity on its own is positive? No, because it doesn't mean anything. I think your qualifications are what matter. But when it comes to diversity as a negative, yeah, it can absolutely be a negative, 100%. Because if you don't have cohesive, homogenous mindset, even if you're not the same ethnicity or like religious background or belief system, you have to have shared cultural values if you're working together as one culture. And that's where we're seeing the issue again, like with the whole H-1B visa thing and everything else. You need to have cultural values that are shared by your people, even if it's not on an ethnic line, but on a cultural line. Something where you have, again, the person that's next door to you has your back, And sure, there's always going to be criminals. There's always going to be bad people within your society. Even if you have Poland has a 99.99% Polish white society, right? There's still criminals because there's still going to be people within that society who are going to screw over other people. But I'd be very curious to look at their crime rates, their crime statistics, and compare it to places that are much more diverse. Because in diverse settings, you're going to have people from all different walks of life, and they're not going to feel kinship to the guy next to them who is a completely different race, ethnic background, cultural background, religious belief system. They're going to feel like, well, I'm not going to look out for that guy because he's different than me,
There are already more middle-aged white guys in the games industry than any other group of people, so...
Well, the premise of this is that it's a problem that there are middle-aged white guys in the gaming industry. I think that if you said there's a lot of young black women here, like... I would say that's racist.
First of all, you need to have actually seen them do that work in the first place. And secondly, if you have seen it, you need to understand that work enough to recognize it as something worthwhile.
Do you really think that the people that work at a company that you have admitted only hire the best of the best and creates the highest profit per employee at $19 million? Do you really think that those people can't recognize good work and you can? How delusional and stupid could you possibly be? It's hilarious that they even think that they can evaluate this better than they can.
And it's going to be
Well, these are the same people, though. Go back to what Alyssa said about the Games Awards, right? These are the same people who don't want to award meritocracy. They don't want to award people who actually made a good product that made millions of dollars, that sold millions of units. Sorry, made billions of dollars, that sold millions of units. They want to award people who worked the hardest, who they feel like deserved it. So again, we're not talking about people who understand actual business. These are people who are like, well, but how did it make you feel, right? It's all based on feeling. It's all based on perception of what makes you morally superior.
much harder to hire someone who is a woman or isn't white or any of the things that isn't your average Valve employee profile.
Yeah, I think this right here, like videos like this, are the most corrosive and the most effective at radicalizing people against DEI or like liberal policies than Nick Fuentes, Sam Hyde, or Tony Robinson put together.
There's nothing in an overt, sinister sense that...
Well, that's what I'm saying, guys. I see Hook and Susano talking about that. I'm not saying that you don't have like crime within every society, every culture. That's 100% a thing. That's especially anywhere of any culture that has areas that have poverty, you're going to have more crime because more poverty leads to more desperation. Desperation leads to more criminality. That's a fact of life, and that's again the same for all of humanity. The difference, I think, is when you have a homogenous society, here's the thing. We need to compare developed societies. You can't say homogenous Ethiopia versus homogenous England or homogenous Asia like Japan or Korea or homogenous, you have to compare societies that are on the same economic standing. If you take an economically superior country and you compare it to one that's impoverished, of course, the impoverished country is going to start off with more crime to begin with. So if you compare homogenous societies from two different cultures with ones that have more diversity like America or like the way England has become, and you can obviously look at it and say, well, which one has lower trust among its citizens, That, to me, I think would be the interesting statistic to look at.
That's discriminatory about the Valve hiring process.
All right. The problem here is that there's a comma and not a period. Why is there 2 more minutes? Is it the credits?
Except in the way that all hiring processes select for people that are like the people doing the hiring.
So if the problem is that there's a bunch of people in this demographic that are hiring based off of their race, then the solution is to influence and bring in a different demographic of people that will hire based off of their race instead. We have to fight racism with racism.
Multiple current and former employees.
Well, that goes back to the H-1B visa thing with the Indian companies firing white employees and then hiring Indian people to replace them. It's a very weird situation. And again, this is one of these situations where people are like, well, but America was founded on immigrants. And see, like, yes, America was founded on immigrants who came here and made America and created the nation. We are now a nation. We don't need to keep... It's like we don't need to keep bringing in people to create the culture that we made. The culture is here. Now we need to protect it. That's the crazy thing, that people think that because things worked, 300 years ago, that for some weird reason we have to, either apologize for it now or continue the immigration, or America is not America. Like, no, we're not the same country we were 300 years ago. But that's because we are now a developed nation with nuclear weapons and high-speed internet, It's the weirdest thing.
Employees, they believe this issue is not being addressed because Valve's leadership simply does not understand it.
The people that run this multi-billion-dollar company that effectively has a monopoly almost on PC gaming, they just don't understand this. Yeah.
It's not that they're knowingly or explicitly sexist or racist or homophobic or anything.
It's just bias. Okay, so they are. Okay, so can you prove it? No, but they are.
Should we
I've talked about that before. Bias is a good thing. Like, bias is legitimately a good thing. Bias is like we talked about physiognomy, Bias is your life experience, the negative, the positive, everything that you've done when you encounter a certain type of person that is in the back of your brain, your subconscious, that is trying to keep you safe. That's where your bias comes in. Now, I'm not saying that biases can't be negative also, but they're negative for a reason. If you have, for example, a type of person who has wronged you repeatedly, okay, let's talk about the H-1B visa thing. The Indian scammers. Everyone knows Indian scammers, Indian call centers. There's these negative stereotypes, okay? That is a bias. If an Indian scammer calls your phone, your bias is going to tell you, wait a second. I'm not going to talk to this guy. I'm not going to waste my time, and you're probably going to hang up, okay? Now, it might be a legitimate person trying to reach you, but if an Indian person calls you trying to sell you something as an American, your bias, your cultural bias, is going to be to hang up the phone. You might be wrong maybe 1 out of 10 times, but you're still going to protect yourself in the long run. So, are all biases a bad thing? Yeah, do not redeem. It's like there's And then you try to say, well, that bias is bad. Well, I'm not the one that made it bad. I'm protecting myself from getting scammed. You know, it's like, at the end of the day, you can only look out for yourself. So
make it easier for people of color to join the company, they'll just be like, why? I feel like that's the dividing line. They are.
Well, that's a good question. Why should
Right,
it be
Kira?
easier for a person of any race to join the company versus a person of another race to join the company? In what form of discrimination is that good?
Some of this frustration spilled out into a wider discussion within the company after the murder of George Floyd in early 2020 as a group.
Anybody referring to the murder of George Floyd as the murder of George Floyd instantly loses any respect I could ever have for them. I'm sorry. That for me, I'm like, yeah, I'm done. I'm out. Dude, okay. Side note, is Trump going to pardon what's his face? The officer that, you know, knelt down on George Floyd. Can't even remember that dude's name anymore. Probably remember it tomorrow when I'm exhausted. Or I know that he was getting an appeal based on I think it was the drug levels in George Floyd's system. I can't remember what it was, but he was supposed to be granted an appeal as far as I remember. But very, very interesting to see if Trump would actually pardon the officer or not.
Group of employees within Valve pushed for the company to make a
Chauvin,
public
thank you.
statement in support of the Black Lives Matter movement.
That's right, of course. Because what more important thing needs to happen for a company to outwardly state that they support Black Lives Matter? The company is not your platform to push a social agenda. The only reason why companies push social agendas is because they think that the social agenda will cause them to make more money.
And there were all...
And that's it right there. Look, that's 100% it in a nutshell. The same reason the DEI grifters call YouTubers that make lots of money, not me, not me, probably never, but again, the guys like Hypnotic and Smash JT and stuff, the reason that they throw the term around grifter so hard is because they're jealous of the fact that they're making money, basically dunking on the game's media, and they have a large audience, and people agree with them. People like their content, so people give them money. They reward them with their time and money, and they get super chats and ad revenue. And so they try to do the other thing on the other side of it because they know that they could never succeed pretending to like the same shit that Hypnotic or Smash like. So they're over here on the other side with the whole black consciousness or white fragility or gaming while black and all that crap. And the money just isn't there. It was there for a minute with BLM back with the whole George Floyd thing when that first happened. Michael Brown before him a couple years ago. But the money's not there anymore. There's no money in this Black Lives Matter supremacy movement that they have. It just doesn't exist.
Also people who felt incredibly passionate, regardless of their own individual political convictions, that Valve should not and must not do so.
Yeah, exactly, because...
Hey, Nightcore, unpopular opinion, MLK was not a good guy. There's a Lotus Eaters special they did on him, or a video, long podcast segments that they put on together about MLK. I think it was last year, 2024. You should go look it up. There's a lot of information about MLK that doesn't show him as a great guy.
It's not a political action company. It's not what its goal is. The thing is that I'm really glad to see videos like this be completely pretty much rebuked. People can realize that this is just basically discrimination, but in a different direction, so that means it's okay. Oh no, Valve hires competent people. Yeah, how's that going for them? So basically, whatever they're doing is working really well. What?
Well, I mean, Nightcore, in the same way that Abraham Lincoln was the first dictator that America ever had, and a lot of people, unfortunately, grew up, myself included, learning what a great guy Honest Abe was, and then you learn later on, like, oh, wait a second. He basically shut down free speech. He, started a war with the South that, essentially, the South had the right to leave. They could have left if they wanted to. He suspended habeas corpus, all this stuff. It's like these people just not good people. Jackie Kenney was waging war on MLK Jr. Yeah, the FBI was actually investigating him. Yes, Razorfist's he has, I think it's like a part 1 and a part 2 about Lincoln. You gotta strap in for that one. It is long and it is very well researched. The dude, Razorfist, I'm already a big Razor. Like, if I was gonna simp for somebody on YouTube, it'd be Razorfist. And Oh, he said that he's near the top of the list. There's a few people. You can't stomach Razor Fist? Oh, man. I look forward to his little 7-8 minute rant videos. Well, the thing is, the Abraham Lincoln one is not like a rant. It is an actual video where he has all of these historical documents he goes through and has lots of like audio and video footage and stuff from all this research that he looked through. So it's worth it. The Abe Lincoln one it'll definitely change your perspective of the man. You'll never think about him the same way ever again. There are no good or bad people. False. Hey, at least he doesn't like go full like he's one thing I noticed about Razor sometime around the time that he was doing the Ghost of the Badlands comic that he did with George Alexopoulos is he just like reeled in the profanity a bit. Oh well, yeah, Sherman too, exactly. Just people trying to justify or condemn actions. I can understand that approach, but I would have to disagree. I think all people are born bad or with the potential for evil, and that we have to work really damn hard to not be bad. That's just my personal take. I believe there are very few truly good people in this world, and every one of us, you just have to work harder to not be evil. You get banned next time he's on side scroller panel, so you delete your comments. Oh, that sucks. I don't catch side scrollers very often because they're usually on when I'm getting ready to leave for work, so I don't get a chance to watch them very often. Old Man Grimm and a few other people were like, "Oh, you should go on side scrollers." I'm like, okay, if they invite me on. It's so funny. This happened to me last year. People were asking when I was going to be on Hypnotic. I'm like, I don't even follow the guy. He doesn't follow me. Well, now we follow each other on Twitter, but it's like we don't really interact. I don't know. This DEI period of time will be reflected on as very troubling times in the future history books. I kind of hope that we can look back on that and be able to say, you know what, we can hopefully not repeat this. Yeah, here's the thing, Susano. Everyone has motivations. Everyone has different things that motivate them, and everyone has to look out for themselves. So I think that's where the potential for evil definitely comes in. So. Oh my god, it's 12:30. What are you guys all doing up still? I can't believe I'm still awake. Like, I legit got no sleep last night. Like I said, I was really warm. I had too much caffeine before bed, which is probably going to be the same problem tonight. Dog was itching, so I had all these factors hitting me left and right. I think I laid down at like 1 o'clock in the morning. I didn't fall asleep for like an hour and a half, and then I was awake like every 20 minutes. Yeah, no, that whole Real Game Awards thing, again, she just doesn't like the fact that people who aren't connected to the games media don't need the games media's opinion to tell them what's good and what's not. Later, Hook, I gotta get some sleep too. Same to you, Oblivion. I'm gonna get out of here. I'm so exhausted. The bleakest time watching while eating pancakes. I'm sorry. Save me some pancakes, though. I'm hungry. That's the other bummer about getting up and having to... well, not getting up. Staying up late is you get hungry. Like, you lay down and you're hungry. It's just terrible. All right, guys. I'm going to hit the hay. I have appreciated all of you guys putting up with all of my nonsense, all this crap. Streamlabs causing me to restart the stream. Camera not working. Thanks, Mari. I'll try to. It makes it all worth it when you guys show up, even with all my craziness here. It definitely makes it a lot of fun. Maybe we'll start figuring out like a second stream, maybe like on a Saturday or something. I don't know. But either way, I appreciate the hell out of all you guys. Hey, Geek. Saw you were in here earlier. Cheers, dude. Thanks, Mari. I'll try to. All right, guys. I'm going to hit the hay. You all have a fantastic rest of your week. I'll try to stream on Wednesday. Maybe we'll get back to the indie dev streams. Friday night, we'll do some AAA slop or something. We will see.